Hello everyone and welcome to the Two Have and Two Roll podcast. My name is Oliver. I am one half of your hosting duo. With me, as always, is my co-host Robin, and joining us both today is our good friend Dolly. Dolly is a player at Empire LARP, and his current character is in the nation of the League and is a part of the group known as the Crimson Reapers. If you're watching this on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing and joining the 1K subscribers that this channel currently has. And for that, we thank each and every one of you that has subbed from the bottom of our heart. Robin and myself are going to be doing a special 1K video at some point. There may be some changes to the channel in the future. We will keep you updated on those. And with all that out of the way, let's get into our conversation with Dolly. Everyone, and welcome along to Two Have and Two Roll podcast. We have our friend Dolly with us today. Welcome to the show, Dolly.
Hello. Hello.
So our friend Dolly was telling us before we started recording that your origin in LARP is a lot different from a lot of people's start out in this hobby.
Yeah, so I play in a gaming community with Digby and Bolam and Salt and stuff like that. And basically, for many years, Salt and Bolam were saying to me, you should come to my LARP. You'd really, really enjoy it. And never done D&D, never done a tabletop, never been part of any sort of thing like that. I used to do World War II reenactment from a very young age, but that was more of my parents took me along because I was 8, and then I'd done a little bit, then I left that hobby, and I was like, okay, cool, that's done. But Salt and Bolam specifically were like, come, you'll love it. And I was like, oh, I'm not that into fantasy. I don't even like Warhammer.
Really?
You know,
Okay.
why would I be interested in this? And then Digby was on about going to an ILARP, Western LARP. And I went, that sounds a little bit of me. I'm going to go to that. So I got myself a ticket, got myself all this stuff for it. And then one drunken day,
out of the many,
I finally caved in one day, just randomly. And I was like, I just paid for a ticket for Empire, having never looked into it, not really thought about it at all. And I just sent my mate Salt a message going, oh yeah, I'm coming to Empire. So they went, oh yeah, come and join our group, our little group. You'll love it. You know, we're a little band of mercenaries. We're in the League. And I was like, oh, I wanted to be Wintermark, but okay, joining a group, that's cool. Because I was like, the Vikings, not Vikings thing really appealed to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah, fair enough.
Being a minor pagan myself, I'm like, Viking, not Viking. I can roll with that. And so I ended up in the League. So I turned up to, I think it was E3, not last year, the year before.
Okay. With
nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I thought you'd been playing longer than that. Have you?
Yeah, I thought you'd been playing way longer.
Really?
That is crazy.
So, yeah, E3, not last year, the year before. I rock up with nothing. I bought a sort of 12 quid tent from Halfords. And that was it. That was my LARPing gear. A 12 quid tent from Halfords, i.e. for out of character camping.
E3 was pretty hot though, right? Last year.
E3 was
that the hot one? Or was
that was the hot one? I think
that was really quite hot. Yeah. So I turned up to the field, and I come up with this character called Fark, and he was a throwaway character because I was like, I'm probably not going to enjoy this. So I did put no thought into character creation, no thought into what the League was. No thought into anything. I hadn't looked into the other nations or anything like that. I was just looking forward to going and hanging out with my friends. And that was the real thing that I was looking forward to, just going and meeting these friends who I've been playing with for years online.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met a few of them. Then I was like, turned around to Fish, another one of my gaming friends. I was like, could you take me shopping? Because I think I need some stuff. And
did you have anything like any kit at all when you
No.
came, or was it just
I literally had nothing. Literally.
It's the league as well. The league is probably the hardest one. It's got the highest barrier for entry, as in from an ease point of view, I think. You know,
Yeah.
to actually get in and get a decent kit. But your kit's really good now. So what happened from not having anything to now?
I spent money.
You spent, yeah, that helps. Yeah.
you love shopping as well, though, don't you? Because like
I can shop. I'm quite good at shopping in the field. I hate it in life, but in the field I can shop. So yeah, I literally walked around and I bought some lovely trousers. The shirt that I bought the trousers, which are my reserve trousers now. They're like,
Yeah.
if it's too hot, I'll wear those because they're nice and baggy and airy. And in fact, I did lend them to Dan, who plays Vino, who moved from Wintermark to the league at the last event. So I lent them to him because he was told not to come dressed as a dirty peasant when he went back to our egregore. So they're still perfectly league, those trousers.
Yeah.
I did have the boots. I did have the boots because they are World War II Russian officers' boots.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had those
Yeah,
when
they
I
work well
arrived.
for the league. Yeah.
Worked really well.
Yeah.
You know, nice sort of knee-high boots.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought myself a shirt. I bought my leather vest, the long leather red and gold vest.
yeah.
I bought that, the belt, everything, the hat, all of it was bought on the Thursday at my first ever Empire.
So I mean, for a game that you just went, oh, I'll just give it a try. Yeah, it's quite a financial like investment into.
It was. I very much realised quite quickly when I arrived that actually this is a little bit of me.
Mm-hmm.
So the friends that I knew and I met in person for the first time, we just got on like a house on fire.
You got the vibe. You were like,
exactly.
Yeah.
That instant vibe because we knew each other so well. We knew each other intimately. They'd been with me through the breakup of my marriage. You know, they'd seen my cats and stuff like that, and all on various streams. And
You could be yourself
chat.
with them, basically.
Yeah.
You could just be comfortable and safe with these people.
Yeah, and it was just that instantaneous connection that I had, and I was like, cool. Yeah, this is actually going to be a little bit of me. Still didn't know anything about the league. Still didn't know about any of the other nations. Still didn't know any of the lore background, anything like that.
There's a lot though. It's a lot.
There is a lot. So for my first event, Fark was very, very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
He would follow Bolam around, who was wanting to become a general.
Mm-hmm.
So he was starting the politicking to become general because his election for general was at E4.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was E3.
E3, yeah.
So he's starting the politicking. He's going to all the military council meetings and stuff like that. So I was just following him about as a bodyguard, but basically I was trying to learn the game and just gather what I could. And I can quite often be quiet and I'll just absorb information. I'll listen, retain, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was trying to do. And then we got to the battle, and I maintained that sort of role of just standing next to him, but I was also doubling up his voice. And just doing the basic acting as a sergeant to him
Yeah.
on the field. Again, never done any combat before. Never, not like with swords and stuff. Never done anything like that. I had got prior experience doing military type things. Well, I was in the military, so yeah, I've done military type things. And yeah, so I just fell into that role quite easily, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Finished E3, and I was like, oh, right. Sorry, this has devolved into the evolution of FARC now.
Go for it.
How do you start Empire now? Evolution of FARC.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I was like, I got back, and I was really raving to Emily, and I was like, oh my God, it was amazing. So cool. It's so inclusive, and that's what really blew me away with Empire. I was like, it is just so inclusive. I love that. People can just be who they want to be and how they want to be. And that's amazing. It was coming back on the services, and I stopped off at the services because I was feeling a little bit chin-strapped because tired. I was feeling a little bit tired because I hadn't slept much because I suffered massively, and I still do to this day. I struggle with fear of missing out of anything. I know I can't do everything at Empire, but I
doesn't stop us from trying.
I will try and be the last one up and the first one awake at camp because I'm like, oh, I don't want to
miss out.
You know, I want to talk to my friends because actually the evening and the mornings are the only times we get to because apparently in the Reapers we're quite busy.
Yeah, you are pretty busy in the Reapers. I mean, we got a lot of game with you recently, but that is only because games cross paths. Apart from that, you tend to always have so many things on at Empire, and I guess that makes sense with you not wanting to miss anything.
Yeah, well, what's worse is I see such a small element of the Reaper game. And I will talk about the Reapers a lot, but I'll go into that in its own little segment because I think the Reapers deserve a segment just to themselves. So
that tracks with the Reapers,
But so yeah, I'm like, I was stopped at the services and I was like, why is there no blue people here? Where's everyone's antlers? Oh, hey, we're back in the real world.
Everyone seems to get that. That first service station stop on the way home is always a jarring one when you've had 3 days in that field because, you're walking around. Usually you are in a bit of kit or something. A lot of us are in a little bit of kit. And you're walking in and you're just like, you're not... The jarring thing for me was that everyone was just, like, ignoring me. That was not me specifically, but people were ignoring each other because you stop at the service station, everyone's just walking by each other, not looking at each other. And when you're in that field, everyone's very engaging because they want to role play. They want you to role play with them and vice versa. So it's always jarring. Yeah,
I also find myself incredibly polite when I get to like having a meal or something like that. I find myself overly polite to myself and Emily. We stopped at her service stations after Emily's first Empire, and I was just apologetically polite to the person having to serve us our pizza at Pizza Express at the services. And Emily just turned around to me and went, "Why are you being so nice?" I was like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's not that they're not playing a game; they're at work.
But yeah, and it's that nice thing that Empire does. I find it's that real break. But I got back from E3 and I was like, I loved it, really enjoy it. I want to put a bit more of my personality into it because at the moment, FARC is very straight-laced and very rigid. And if someone tells him to do something, he'll either ignore them if he's not part of the Reapers, or if he is part of the Reapers, he'll do it to the letter, literally to fault to the letter. There was a meeting that I once interrupted because I was told to pass a message to someone and get a response. So I interrupted this meeting, gave them their letter, and went, "Would you like to respond?" They went, "Oh, where's this camp that I need to do the meeting?" I went, "Over there." Turned, walked out. Because I got my response. I
That is
delivered
a
my
response,
letter.
yeah.
It was like, I was like, I enjoyed that element of it.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's not really me. That's not me. I felt really not uncomfortable doing it because I quite enjoyed doing it because it was being a bit of a penis. And I was like, yeah, that's quite funny doing that. But I knew it wasn't sustainable. So I was like,
yeah, that is the big difference. I know you say you haven't played like D&D and things like that, but when you're like creating NPCs as like a DM, you can create these characters that can be fun to play, but they only live for a couple of minutes. You know what I mean? Like the quirky shopkeeper who's rude. You know, that you can sustain that, and that might be entertaining for a couple of minutes, but if like they're not realistic in that way. Whereas at a game like Empire, in any LARP that's going to be one or 2 days, you want to have a character that you can consistently inhabit for that amount of time.
yeah, that's exactly it. And it was the problem I was having is I couldn't stay in character because I try to be a very kind person. I try to be very forthcoming and talkative and stuff like that. And it was just such a polar opposite from me that I really struggled with it. And as soon as I was off duty, I went into more me, but only with Reapers.
Yeah.
I was like more my personality. Everyone else I was standoffish with. But with Reapers, they were the family. So Fark would only deal with Reapers because that's all he had to deal with. That was his role. He was to have fun with the Reapers, and business was business.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, how can I evolve this? Because there are other nationalities, nations, and stuff like that I want to socialize with. I want to experience this game. So, being League, I bought a mask, which was, my lovely little Arabella mask. So my lovely little Arabella mask came because I was like, I just want an excuse to be me. And my lovely, adorable cat had just died, Arabella, which is where the mask gets its name from, because she was lovely to everyone. She was such a little hussy. She would rub up against any person who came into the house. And yeah, she was adorable. Absolutely amazing. She is the most affectionate thing. I used to sit here streaming and she would have her paws on my desk and you'd just see this little face just for the whole stream. And then when, people paid bits and stuff like that, she'd eat food because we gave her treats every time someone got bits. So
oh gosh, that could get dangerous.
It got so bad that she started to recognize the sound of the bits being dropped.
Yes.
Before I'd even reached for the bag, she'd get excited and start running around on the desk. But yeah, so she had just passed. So I named the mask after her. And I was like, oh, okay, what I'll do is I'll be a bit more myself, but I'll also chuck in a bit of her personality to it. That went too far after a few drinks.
Right. How many people did you rub up against?
Well, there was a very funny meeting, properly meeting Helen, Steve's wife, for the first time.
Uh-huh.
The first time I met her, I had to apologize to her because I'd rubbed my face against Will's groin and pushed him over a bench. Unfortunately, she was sat on the bench. So, it went a bit too far. And there have been occasions, mainly at the last Reaper's Ball, where Arabella was being worn, and I may have got cleaved by Steve because I was mewing and rubbing my face against the Reaper. And whilst he was trying to sort out a bit of a reckoning and stuff like that for a relationship that was being rekindled or sorted or something like that. Yeah, I let my hair down at the last Reaper's Ball.
It's good.
I had no role, so for me, I was like, oh, I am a soldier who has no position of power. I'm at our own ball, and I can drink. And the little cogs in Dolly's head in little Dolly world went, old work brain. So we started the evening off with a private gin club in our hotel room.
Nice, yeah.
Where myself and Emily drunk through a fair bit of a chunk of a bottle of gin. Everyone else was being rather civilized. We were not. We arrived, and one of the other Reapers went, get yourself a drink on me. Here's my card.
Mm-hmm.
So we queued, and they were with us, and we got to the bar. They were still with us, and the lovely Billy, this is, and we were, oh, just a couple of glasses of wine. He went, nah, they'll have a bottle. So that's where that started going downhill, because every time I saw Emily, she had a bottle of wine in her hand. It was just a new bottle almost every time. So yes, we got rather inebriated at the last Reaper's Ball.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I got to admit, my last character was a bit like that. There was like at player events, I was a little bit like, what do I do with this character? Because he doesn't really have any political ambitions. There's no, like, he just likes a good scrap and he's just a good soldier, and that's kind of it. So trying to come up with something, right, what would I do in this social situation where we're all just stood around, there's no action going on? It's like, well, drink, I guess.
Yeah, and that was exactly it. It was like, this is a social. This is literally a social event. I am going to be a mercenary. I'm going to be a soldier. I'm going to be a mercenary. I'm going to drink to excess. And, you know, I knew when we arrived it was going to be bad, because I introduced Emily to our prince, and she bowed. And I was like, you don't bow to Reese. No, he's our prince, but you don't bow to him. Look, he's got a lovely bum, though, and instantly squeezed his bum. You knew that's how the night was going.
Yeah. That just set the tone, really, for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Like, so when you put on the Arabella mask, does that mean technically you're no longer Fark and now you're Arabella, or is it some sort of mixture?
So my understanding is you put on the guise of the mask. So it's a guise. So I very much, I think I sent you a message saying, when I'm wearing Arabella, I will answer to Fark, stop. Arabella, stop. You, stop. I will answer to Arabella. I will also answer to Fark, because, you know, and that's the way I personally perceive it. I could be wrong. I am not an oracle of knowledge. I am still very much learning, seeing as I got back from E3 and I was like, better start looking at the wiki and learning what other nations are.
I mean, there's a lot of, you can't do the whole thing. You can be, I think you can be specialized in one certain part of the wiki, but you're never gonna know everything about every nation. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff that I've learned over the past year or so, I've kind of forgotten because it hasn't come up again. So even talking about, like you mentioned, reckonings there. Now I know when our other Reaper guest that came on last year, Will, told us about reckonings and what they were. I've completely forgotten what the ins and outs are, because it doesn't come up in my game, you know. So there is that much information out there that you can't know it all.
The important thing is to know, though, reckonings can come up in your game.
Yeah. So
you can
explain it to me again.
Contract the Reapers.
Explain it to me.
Contract the Reapers.
Yeah, I have a loose understanding of what they are. What exactly are they? What was the function of them?
I will explain it in the sort of way that it was explained to me.
Mm-hmm.
If someone has done you a dirty, you can pay someone to do them a dirty back. As long as it's within the virtues and stuff like that. So if they have done something unvirtuous to you, which isn't illegal, you know, you can get a reckoning. If someone goes against a contract or someone does something like that, you can then send a reckoning against them. And that can be something as bad as just getting a few burly reapers to come over and say, oi, you no.
Oi, don't, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Or curses, which
it's quite,
is, which is very much the magical monkeys within the cartels. That's their division of, go on then, you go and curse, and we have a price list of curses and stuff like that because, you know.
This is now explaining why I got so many uneasy looks from people when they were walking past the Mortar camp, because of the amount of times we're sitting there chatting to the Reapers and we're there constantly and just like, good. They all think something's going to happen. Probably is.
It's one of those lovely, lovely things about the Reapers. It is, we're lovely. We are genuinely lovely. But myself and Amy, who plays Amelie, we have this lovely dynamic of we will start manically smiling when telling people how lovely we are.
Yeah.
And when someone says, "Oh yeah, don't you curse people?" and we're like, "Yeah," but keep on that manic smile and that wild look in your eyes of but that's only for fun or money.
Or money, yeah. I think
I've witnessed her do this.
It's amazing when she does it. She does it so well because she doesn't carry a weapon or anything. She a little dainty late, but smiling manically about murder and cursing and stuff like that. But then also telling you how lovely we are.
I think that's why it's unnerving, because it's slightly
I've
like
been cursed.
No, not yet. Not yet. There's time. And also, it's all about owning your curses in Winter Magic. If you get cursed, you own it. You're like, cool.
I mean, it's game that I would like. Obviously, I wouldn't be out in character to get cursed, but it's game that I would definitely welcome. Because having a curse just is such good fun.
It's weird though. Like, I don't know how. I know how RNL would have acted to getting cursed, but I don't know how Nymeria would, because even though she's in like the winter house, she's anti-winter. Like, she is very outspoken about that, and she's super angry about it. So I don't know how she would actually, if she would own getting cursed, or if she'd burn the camp down. I mean, it could go either way.
I think we mean like out of character, you want to own it, but I think in character,
out of character,
justified in being annoyed that you've been cursed.
No, it's in character own it as well. So the lovely Laurie, who plays Merloff, who is a member of the Reapers, he's also the captain of the militia.
Mm-hmm.
I know at the end of E4 he was rocking a few curses. And he won't get them removed because of his Wintermark heritage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but you wear your curses with pride almost. It's I don't know if you know, we may have cursed the Archmage of Winter with with the winter branding.
Okay.
Yep.
Was that personal, or was that a job?
That was personal. We may have got treated rather rudely in Conclave.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically, we went to vote for the Archmage of Winter. Once the vote was over with, sorry, I say we. I wasn't there. This isn't my game at all.
Mm-hmm.
But our magic monkeys left, and people started booing. That didn't go down very well with our magic monkeys. So yeah, as the head of Winter, he took the curse on behalf of Conclave.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. Yeah.
Got the power, you've got the responsibility now, right? So.
I just love the I just love that element of the game though, of like we're not doing anything illegal. It doesn't harm you. You just cursed.
Like the
It's
curses
just
they sound so much fun because like I've created we have like our flower codes in Dawn, and I've been working on a flower and I've created one which is meant to be as a threat, and or not so much a threat, more of a promise of a curse, specifically a curse is coming your way. And I was like, I want to tie this in with stuff because I think it could be just so much fun game to go and present that to someone and then let them first of all work it out, which you know would be quite honest probably about what it means, but then just leave it for however long we feel is necessary. Just keep walking past with the Reapers every so often, you know, just hello.
You've got your own winter coven. Just saying.
We do.
Yeah, it's growing. I've actually been talking to the house the other day, and I'm considering taking, because with like this new character. I'm kind of figuring out, you know, the actual game mechanics and how they work, and the type of fighting I'm going to be doing with this character isn't going to be the same as Godric. You don't actually need to be spending. I personally don't need to be spending a lot of experience points on clanky stuff and fighty abilities. I've already got enough with like just a great weapon master and like mortal blow, and that's kind of all I need. For my fighty stuff, and I've taken a priest skill, I've taken dedication, and I'm now actually, instead of going into more priest stuff, I'm actually considering going into like magic as well, and because I don't want to be
becoming a dirty magic monkey.
Well, I don't know, not to do like proper like battle mage stuff, but just enough to bolster a ritual, because that's the thing. It's like the little coven is you know. Because covens tend to like specialize in certain rituals, because like the more members of the coven that have certain rituals learn. So so the Black Garden coven is more they're very focused on whispers, you know. So
yeah.
But I've considered going right. I should maybe take some winter lore with my next few, and then I can, if we need a bolster for like either a mask hole or a curse or something, then I can jump in.
Yeah, because like mass weakness is quite expensive for us, isn't it? Because I don't think we're all fully mastered in it, so it becomes a bit more expensive. But then like having more people in there that can do it makes it cheaper, I guess.
Yeah.
Me to get more.
Also, I don't know that part of the game either that well, to be honest. I would like to learn a bit more about that part of the game.
Yeah, it's a real gap in my knowledge. The magic stuff doesn't really interest me.
No.
If I'm honest, it doesn't overly interest me. I love the dramaturgy and the plays that our guys put on, because you know we have a playwright in the Reapers, just who is amazing, does some spectacular things. But we've got brilliant dramaturgy mages. Most of them are at least level 2, and there are many of them. More keep coming out the woodwork, and they'll do rituals. And yes, they've done some spicy rituals, which I won't go into. I will not go into the spicy rituals that they have done. But yeah, we're one of the, if not the most powerful winter coven on the field. I think.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I would love to be proved incorrect.
It opens a lot of doors for you. I mean, I've got to admit, like I did know that. I mean, it obviously helps if you have members of a certain group in certain places. But yeah, that there was quite a lot of opportunity with mine and Robin's new characters, like in Military Council and the, you know, with the Winter Coven in Dawn, kind of the Black Garden Coven kind of growing a bit. I don't know if it's grown that much, but the fact that we were there, people were, you know, asking, can you do this, can you do that? So the bigger and the more stuff you can say, yeah, we can do, that opens up a lot of game for you, you know, because people will come to you and be like, hey, we need this done on the battlefield, can you do that on the battlefield? Or we need this done for this army, can you do that, please?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like I did love the whole like after, it was more like after the main military council of like, yes, do we know anyone who can perform mass weakness? Well, let's ask the 2 fucking vampire standing there with her smoking, bubbling drinks.
Well,
we might know someone.
Yeah, well, that'd be the other, because I don't know. I need to look this up, or people can put this in the comments with the mass calls. I think if I took magician and Winterlaw, I think I could actually do a mass call. I'm not entirely sure.
No, not wearing heavy armor. You can't.
Not wearing armor. You have to.
Yeah,
Oh,
not
that's right.
wearing heavy armor.
Mage armor. Yeah, that would.
You have to wear mage armor.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can, but you'd just be
I'd have to
squishy for a battle.
I'd have to strip it off and run in.
Well, can't we just take a yo folk to carry your armor? And then you could do the mass call, and then we can dress you.
Yeah, it would just be
And
like
then you go back to fight.
yeah, it would just be like in a bind, because that's the issue sometimes. Sometimes it's like, you know, if you want to again, then if you want to perform a ritual on the battlefield, there's not very many people that do that, because obviously then you've got to take your whole coven into the battlefield, and it's a risky thing because you're right in the middle of the battlefield. So a lot of covens aren't into that.
It is we at E3, my first E3 and E4, we had to do some battlefield rituals. Sorry, Cato has wanted to come and say hello.
Hello.
Hello, Cato.
Hi.
This is Hermione. This is actually Arabella's biological sister.
Oh.
She's still going strong. She doesn't realise that she's 20 plus years old.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, we had these rituals, and unfortunately, it did mean that our butchers had to guard our ritualists as opposed to, facilitate the contract.
Yeah.
And we had this agreement with the contract holders at the time of, if this is the case, it's the Empire. And, obviously Wintermark were a bit upset because they saw the Reapers had a contract with the House of Wintermark. They should be helping Wintermark, but they were guarding their and when you've got sort of 11 people guarding 10 people, everyone gets a bit antsy because what they see, they look over and they just see this group of people doing nothing to help the battle. What they don't see is if those 10 incredibly squishy people who are non-coms have an actual role to do. We had a similar problem actually at E3.
Yeah.
We had a slightly similar problem at E3 when we were guarding the Gilded Horn. Was it Gilded Horn? Oh no.
Which battle was this?
This was the battle where we had to go and it was E4 on the Saturday when we had to.
Oh, E4 this year.
E4, yeah.
E4
Yeah, when we
this
fought
year.
with
I was
you,
gonna say, yeah. You had to do that because I remember coming to say to you guys, oh yeah, we need some more people here, and you're like, we really want to be fighting over there, but we have to do this.
Yeah, it is exactly that, and part of that was also Farks hanging around the Black Plateau.
Mm-hmm.
So Fark has become a little bit more murderous in his depression because he's found that's the way to cope with the voices from the Black Plateau is to kill things. And unfortunately, I haven't got a military unit anymore because I've now got a business for reasons. So I now no longer have a military unit. So I no longer get to go and kill things. So I just have to sit with the plateau. So by the time I come to Empire, I want to murder things on the battlefield. And we were tasked with protecting. There was a few times in that battle where I was literally like, we need people here. The ritualists are currently on the front line because the line is so thin. But you also get the other thing of people going, Reapers, why are you standing there doing nothing? We need your support here. And a few times, the contract holder for the last event was actually Bolam. He held the contract for the Reapers. So he said, take a few, go and smash. And he let us go and do that. But yeah, it's that really cool and also horrible thing of everyone's going to contract and we can't do anything because the contract holder wants us to do this, or there's this that needs to happen for the Empire. And you also have this argument within the Reapers of we should be doing this, we should be earning our reputation.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but this is our contract. We are contracted to do this. And this was the hardest role as the captain to do, because you're like, yeah, I want to go and get stuck in because we could really help in this fight, but we've been told by the contract holder to do this. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I understand what you mean about the reputation thing, because especially in like Empire like that, your reputation can go stale pretty quick because of how how the player base kind of rotates, and there's so many new players and things like that, and it wouldn't take many events for people to be like, oh yeah, like you want to keep your reputation up, so you want to keep getting employed, but it doesn't take a lot of events, and especially if a load of Navarre players come and go, oh, we're mercenaries too, and they're getting really stuck in,
Well, you have got the other thing, which is also sort of by our design of people come up to us as Reapers, like just a random person, and we'll turn around to a random Reaper and say, Reapers, we need you over there. And the common response from the Reapers will be, in no uncertain terms, fornicate off that way.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot. Even if you aren't a Reaper, that happens a lot on those battlefields. Random could like, get over there, and you're like, no.
But the Reapers will do it to messengers from the Field Marshal, because one, they're talking to the wrong Reaper, and two, that Field Marshal doesn't pay us.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that. It's like the contract holder tells us who we are to listen to orders from, which is them. And, if there's a general that they want us to listen to orders from, we'll listen to orders from them. Other than that, they'll come to the captain of the Reapers, and I'm saying the captain and not myself, because the role of captain is getting re-elected at E1. So effectively at E4, that was my last term as captain. But I'm going to say, for Reaper's Ball, I'm still the captain up until E1 when it gets re-elected, which I will be re-standing for it within the Reapers. That's again in-house politics for the Reapers, and it's a brilliant way to share the game between other people.
Yeah.
And I can't state my love for the group enough, if I'm honest. My group is amazing. They are just beautiful, beautiful people. But every single in-character role for the Reapers goes up for election, including the Prince.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah. How does somebody become the Prince of the Reapers then? Like, what does that actually mean?
So the Prince is the head of the Reapers, is the face of the Reapers, the politicking face, the actual head.
Just like the Earl of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like an Earl. So it's I will take a contract as the captain. I will go to the Prince and say, I've been offered this contract. What do you think? Or someone will come up to us with an idea for a contract and say, I've got this idea for a contract. Do you want it? The captain can say yes, but if the Prince says no, the Prince says no. We don't go for that contract.
Right, okay.
Because the Prince is in charge of the reputation, the Prince is in charge of the group, the welfare. All of those things falls under the Prince's remit. And also has to go to like the Prince's meetings within the league. And so it's a job I don't want. I definitely wouldn't want that.
Yeah, being group leaders, yeah.
But that's the in-character group lead.
Uh-huh.
We have two councils. We've got the in-character council, we got the out-of-character council.
Okay.
Our out-of-character council look after the Reapers so much. They organise the camping and, booking us our tents in. They organise everyone's welfare, keep us informed with all goings on within the wins, so you don't have to read all of the wins. They'll give you a nice compressed version. I say
handy.
they. Yeah, it's amazing. Bolam does an amazing job at collating the information from that, the important chunks that we need to know. And also Bolam is just an oracle of knowledge, and we've got, the other members of the out of character council just do so good, and they're the ones who organize the Reaper's Ball or the Reaper's Rest, or the various other names that there are for it. So they do an incredible job. And then we got the in-character council, so the prince, the captain, the head magic monkey, and there are other roles I can't remember, quartermaster and stuff like that. And all of those are open to any member of the Reapers.
Okay.
But it gets, you volunteer, say, I want to run for this position. And then the group votes on it, and they'll vote for who they want to get that role.
Yeah.
Is
it open voting? Is it
open voting? It's just a hands up.
Hands up, yeah.
These two people have put themselves forward because we love competition. I may have volunteered to be the bishop at E4 because our bishop was unable to make it, so the standing bishop. I volunteered to be the bishop. I have no religion game in me whatsoever, but so we had competition, I volunteered.
Yeah.
But it's that lovely, really lovely thing of it shares the game.
Yeah.
Because so many people hold these positions for years and years and years and years, and it doesn't give new players a chance to get into those roles. And just keeping it spicy, just having that little change once a year. All roles get voted for, so I could not be captain next year.
I mean, I would not. I'm not going to lie. I'd be disappointed if you weren't.
It won't affect Fark too much.
No,
it won't affect Fark too much. He will still be Fark, and actually, it will give me a lot more time to actually wander the field because I had never gone into the Orc camp until E2 last year.
Yeah,
never ever been into the Orc camp. I'd never been into Varushka. I still haven't, actually. I've never had the opportunity to go into Varushka. I've never had the opportunity to go into the marches. Bearing in mind where my camp is.
You're literally backed up against them. Yeah.
I'm backed up against... Yeah. I've never had the opportunity to go into the marches.
What you're saying is we need to actually do a pub crawl next event and get all 10 nations?
Pub crawl for...
Yeah, I've never actually managed the whole 10 nations. In
the 10 nation army couldn't hold me back.
No.
We potentially could do that. Oh God, that's another Friday drinking, isn't it?
Yeah. Thing is, I know where I like my game. That's the thing. It's not that I like, if I end up somewhere, like if I'm in the Orc camp, I'm in the Orc camp usually for a reason. It doesn't have to be an important reason, but I'm talking to someone, I have a friend there, and I stay there, and I'm having good company, good drinks, and sometimes it's like, oh, we're on pub crawl. I don't want to be forced to move away from if I'm enjoying myself, like when we were in the wine bar on Friday, it would, we just ended up there, obviously, but you're there and you're enjoying yourself, and you're like, no, I like being here in Dawn with my friends. And we're having good conversation, there's no point to get up and be like, oh, well, I haven't been to the marches in ages, let's just randomly go there. No, you don't. It doesn't happen often.
Exactly. And it's so for the business of trying to find the contract for the Reapers, I spent most of my time building up a relationship and stuff like that. From becoming captain, I built up the relationship with Wintermark to basically try and break this illusion that the Reapers disobey orders and stuff like that. And I wanted to show them that actually, no, the Reapers follow orders, but if there's a ritual going on, we have to do that and stuff like that. So I tried to rebuild this reputation. Unfortunately, I do personally believe that we were being used incorrectly within Wintermark.
Yeah.
We were very much used in lines, and the Reapers are a heavy skirmish unit. Then they're not they're not good on lines. Especially when we're given a gap to hold that could probably hold, the Dunnings. And, we were quite light because of real world issues and stuff, that battle. And, we got wrapped.
Yeah.
It was that instant, right, we're just going to have to start dressing back because we can't hold this line. There are gaps between us and we're not swords and board. We don't do swords and boards.
No, like you said, you're like the skirmishers, or you're quite good at punching through, though, aren't you? You're quite good at like creating that opening and punching through for people. But yeah,
it's holding a line we can do as long as we're given a line that is to our size. There was a brilliant fight in the woods where we were holding the right hand side of Wintermark. And we were holding the left-hand side of Navarre. And Navarre basically gave us a commendation in the military council saying, the Reapers who held our left were just amazing.
Yeah.
Again, that's such a nice thing to have. Oh, that's not what we're good at. we can do it, but we don't like it.
Yeah, and it's so very common. I think it might be a symptom of the fact that there are a lot of people on that field and we're running out of land currently in that site. So a lot of the time you have those two armies and they just form a line from border to border, and it just inevitably becomes one big long line fight. That's why every scenario they end up pushing us into those woods to try and prevent that from happening a bit and splitting objectives. But yeah, there's so often where you don't want to be, because we're not Dawn tend to fight in lines, but we're not really line fighters either. We're very much, we're more like a cavalry. We're supposed to be pulling back and then hitting hard, then pulling back and then coming from the side and hitting, just constantly hitting hard. We're not really supposed to be static, but you end up being, you like on that E4 one, we just ended up with one big line, because
we were supposed to bubble out, and I think at the beginning, I think the Reapers were on the right flank at the beginning, if I'm right, and we had to bubble out, but the bubble turned into a line with two little lines at the side, and it got a little bit hairy at that point.
It's because
sorry,
go on.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, it's because the monsters mechanically, the monsters don't have that much room to spawn, again, because there's only so much ground. So because we were such a massive line and we did such a good job of bubbling out to find the objective point and then start slowly pushing forward, the monsters were obviously just spawning on top of us. So it just kept the line fight going, from both sides. They just kept spawning on top of us. So we were
it was that point where it did start to get hairy, where our bubble got very thin and everybody was needing some help. And we were in that position where Nymeria and Damon were back with the people in charge being going to each point, being how are you doing? What do you need? And everybody needed backup. And there wasn't really backup. And it was when we were just, well, we're the backup. And Damon was well, I'm the backup for you guys, and went over and was just shatter.
It was so good because it was as Damon turned up, a whole wave of monsters turned up as well. We had the ritual team on the front line. We had, and then it was we had just enough to make a hasty line, including the ritual team.
Yeah, because if I can remember, go on.
I was going to say, and then Navarre, who had been holding the gate, were able to come in. Yeah. And again, it's a lot of people within Empire, I find, they do that very military thing of, you see that element of the fight. There are other elements that you don't see, and that's why the commanders need to stand at the back and assess, and they can't get stuck in. It's all about the bigger picture thinking. And
that was really, I really enjoyed, because it was a completely different view this time, like seconding and going up and down, and like you said, having a view of everything. And from what I can remember of that situation was we had a lot of people, a lot of like thin lines that were struggling. So you had to basically I had to basically go to all the Dornish lances and be like, okay, and try to kind of coerce them to be like, okay, well, you can go there. And I knew that I couldn't be like, oh yeah, go help, go to the other side and help the Reapers. So everyone was like, so I remember saying, you going, oh yeah, we're struggling over here. So this person's pushed out too far. These people need more here. These people more here. Everyone needed more. And I didn't have any more.
Yeah.
But I basically went up the line, kind of try to coerce everyone to like move right. And I knew no one was going to come onto your end. I was just like, well, once everyone's plugged sort of, then I'm running straight to that right hand with the Reapers, and I'll go smash something.
Like you were over at the right, and then I was over at the left, and we were trying to loop the left around so that we could actually encase everything. With what we had in mind was we all knew the Reapers were thin over there, and the only way we could actually help would be to loop everyone around. And then it got to that point where it was just like, a Damon, just you're the backup.
Yeah. And it worked, and we're really lucky that the I will think of their name. It's not the Gilded Horn. It is
I can't remember who did
the Withering Gaze. Thank you. Sorry, Withering Gaze.
Where are they from? What nation?
They're League.
League. Okay.
They're also another Winter Coven within the League.
Oh, that makes sense. That's why I think I got confused, because I thought you guys were doing the ritual.
No, we were guarding the ritual team, who were the Withering Gaze. And I'm really glad I remember their name, because they are lovely, lovely people as well, and just really fun to play with. So yeah, they were doing the ritual. We were just guarding them. So yeah, it was very fun, that fight. It was very fun.
Really fun fight. I enjoyed it. Winning also
it was
helps.
Really good.
Winning and getting the job done, it also helps you have a good time and not dying.
Like you said, though, that was like the first experience I've ever had of actually knowing what was happening in every part of the fight. I definitely failed a few times at the start, because I kept getting, it's so tempting just to run in the front and fight.
Yeah, I tapped you on the shoulder a few times.
Yeah, Damon came to grab Nymeria a few times and be like, you don't need to be in this fight, and I'm like, I feel like I'm walking away, but really I'm not walking away. I am knowing what's happening.
It's so tempting to be, especially when someone's like, oh, and there's like a literal gap there, and they're like looking at you pleadingly, being like, fill this gap, and you're like,
I had strike down this time, and I got halfway through the battle, and I was like, I have not struck anyone down, so I need someone to strike down now.
It is just that horrible thing, though, of like, you are stood there and you're like, what can I do? And it's, the field marshals do amazing, even when it goes. Even when it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
They do an amazing job, and it's like
a lot, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I mean, even with Robin saying there, we had a seeing everything that was going on. We only really saw what was going on from Dawn's point of view, obviously, because we're a big nation, so it's a good chunk of the field. But yeah, like if you're on the field marshal seat, then you got to know what's going on the other side as well, so that's obviously where your runners and information, and just standing still really helps when you're the field marshal.
Well, it was the fight for the fight where Dawn lost a lot of people. What one was that? I can't remember. E3 was it? E3 last year? Oh, too soon. No, but that was interesting because I was in the main field. So I was hearing all these stories of how Dawn were up against it and stuff like that, and we sent people to try and help, but on the actual field side, we had the ritual that was going on. So we had a group guarding the ritual team, like as close defense. We kept on having breakthroughs from the other ends of the forest, so they were having to be guarded. So there wasn't that many people who could have come to help Dawn. And it was like seeing it from that perspective going, yeah, I will say, I looked at that fight and went, Dawn are going to get screwed in the woods.
Yep.
I literally went, Dawn are going to get screwed in the woods. And I turned around to the field marshal when I said, it'd probably be worth having a reserve force to go and help Dawn when it goes terribly.
So how do I, I'm not gonna blame.
You word this.
I know. I'm not gonna blame like anyone for like our deaths. But
No.
like what you're saying, Dolly, like the people in charge knew that was the case. That wasn't like Dawn. Like we were doing when we died. We were doing the job set out for Dawn, and that was most definitely what we were expecting. Like literally the person who was field marshalling, literally like or no, wasn't field. There was Wintermarker field marshalling. So that the person leading Dawn that day, who very much agreed with the plan put forward. Remember when it was time, it wasn't even time in, and he came up to me and went, "This is going to be rough."
I remember that so clearly.
This is going to be rough. We knew what the plan is, and obviously because I was captaining, so I knew, and I said to everyone like, "This is going to be like we are going to be in that woods on our own, mainly on our own, and it's going to be rough." So that whole part wasn't really from an out of character point of view. It wasn't any out of character screw up. That was the narrative of that battle. You know,
it was definitely the narrative of that battle, and it was like I do believe, whilst you guys were dying, whilst you guys were dying, there may have been an interesting. I think that's the interesting point where the Bronze Colossus came out of the woods. And the people facing it were just the Reapers, and there wasn't that many of us in that fight.
Did you manage to take it down? Was it taken down at all?
We didn't take it down, but we held it up a little bit, and then the marchers came, pushed it back basically to Wintermark, and then Wintermark and the marchers just pummeled it from all sides. And I will say I did hit it, and as I hit it, they said it's dead. I will say about 30 other people were hitting it at the same time, but I'm claiming it. It was all me.
I think
honest.
It was Spark, yeah. You heard it here, everyone. Spark took down the Colossus.
No, there was so many people hitting it. It was just...
By himself. No one else was on the field. It was just him and the Colossus. He only had one sword.
That is what LARP stories are all about.
His armor had fallen off.
that is... But Fark wouldn't even tell the story that gloriously. Fark would have literally... Actually, the way Fark told it was, oh yeah, I saw everyone pummeling it, so I leant over the back of someone with my axe and went, hurt donk. And that's what I done. Literally leant over the back of someone who was really close, hacking it down, and I just went, donk.
I mean, the thing was pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool to see. Unfortunately, like, because the only time we saw it, because that was early on, because we pushed up the field to get into the woods, because that was always the plan to put us in the woods. But it was near that. It was near the gate. It was near the breach, right? So it was that way that when we got to the breach, we started holding the breach, and it was just like wandering like closer and closer to us, and we're like, ooh, oh, I hope it doesn't end up going towards us. So that was the last we saw of it.
That would have been a bad day in the a worse day in the office. I was going to say it was a pretty bad day in the office anyway.
Well, it
was like 48 dead is pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way we died was just so cinematic and thematic for us anyway. I think it was better than getting pummeled by a Colossus on the bridge. So,
you know, as bad as it sounds, it's, as you said, you guys had almost completed your character arc. Not quite completed, but sorry, I'm literally talking for Oliver here.
Yeah, no, I've made it very obvious to everyone that I felt like Godric's arc was done anyway. So
yeah, Godric went out the way he lived.
Yes,
glory. I just think Damon suits you. The way you play Damon is so. It is so good.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
It was that. Just that interaction when it was, you know, Emily, Dan, who we were like basically bringing into the Reapers from Wintermark, and I just saw you, ran over to you guys and went, "Hi, how's it going?" As you know, as what are you doing here, sort of thing. And then we went through the whole background with them and how we knew them, introduced them, and then the drinking started a bit later when we were supposed to be doing thinky things in military camp. It was in the Field Marshal's meeting? Yeah, that was Field Marshal's meeting.
Yeah, Field Marshal's meeting, and we were sat there, and you were bringing us these shots that had all the dry ice in them.
I was so drunk in that meeting, like so drunk, and it was like you kept bringing more, and I was just like, "Oh yes, this looks really good."
Yeah, you were done. I was just like, "Yep, more."
I will say to everyone watching, every time I did ask, "Do you want another one?" Because I know Robin did say no at one point, and I was like, "Cool." There's no pressure.
Got to the point where I was like going, "It's really fun in military council." Oh shit, I'm drunk.
yeah. When military council seems fun, you know you've had too much. Yeah.
You're giggling on the sidelines.
It was that though. It just felt right as well. Again, I was saying this before we started stream. I don't drink to excess. Since I've taken over the captain role of the Reapers, I don't drink to excess on a Friday or a Saturday because I know my head needs to be in the right space for meetings and leading battles and stuff like that. So, because I don't want to be hanging for the battles, because, you know, I'm generally wearing quite heavy armor nowadays, and it's, hot. And dehydration's a thing.
Yeah.
Which is why I carry a big bottle of water.
Yeah. That's...
Oh, that bottle of water of yours. Since then, literally yesterday, my dad messaged me. He was like, "Hey, what size was that water bottle that your friend had? Because I found some online. I'm going to get some because those were much better." And I was like, "Oh, I think it was this." He was like, "Right, I found like some really good ones. I'm going to order these." And they're also got red and black leather straps. So they're going to work for the kit. And I'm like, get you getting into it.
Oh, that's he really got into it. Awesome. It was also doing the welfare checks on your dad as well throughout the. You're right. You having a good time? Just
it was a lot. It was a lot for Robin's dad. Yeah, it was. Because I mean, I know you said you didn't do role playing games, but you did. You're a gamer, and you stream video games. You're like ages with us, but that the generation above, and Robin's dad had never really done, like, I think he played video games before, but not really immersed in like the nerd culture. Likes nerdy stuff, but not within
secretively
the culture.
Likes nerdy stuff.
Not so secretly now, because we're telling the entire world about it. But it was a lot. And I think
I do appreciate the amount of people like yourself, Dolly, who were just like so welcoming to him and did those checks and stuff to make sure, because it can be quite daunting and quite a lot, all at once.
It was when we went shopping on the Thursday.
You got him and stuff and went shopping.
it was that, you want this shirt. Oh, that looks a bit thick. Yeah, look how loose the weave is, though. Loose weave.
He wore that all weekend. That was him.
Aeration for all the potty.
That's one tip as well. Like when we talk about what event to come to, obviously if you're keen to come to E1, definitely come to E1. But sometimes people go, "Oh yeah, which one do I start with?" I think definitely your dad was a good example, because he literally bought one piece of kit, and that was pretty much him, because it was so hot that he got away with wearing like khaki shorts, because he was playing like a sailor, and just had the shorts with the shirt that he bought and his boots, and that was it. Like, he was in kit, and just with one piece of kit, whereas in the winter events you kind of need more layers. So
it's not to dissuade anyone, because English weather be English weather. We don't know what April's going to be like. Last year it was cold.
It was real cold.
Last year was cold. E2 in June,
Yeah, well, we had 3 hot events, right, this year. We had 3.
Yeah, we had 3 hot events
Yeah.
right up until the Sunday where we had a storm.
Yeah.
During pack up and rain.
We had a storm every Sunday, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yep.
Like,
well,
it was
actually every single
weird.
one. Yeah, there were 4 out of 4 events, and we had rain on Packdown, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's for someone new. Yes, there are ways you can, there are vendors and stuff there that you can buy more stuff from. But if you go prepared to be hot and cold, everything in between is a bonus. So yeah, I just think E1 of an evening will be cold.
Yeah.
Just accept that inevitability, and it will more than likely be wet.
Yeah.
Learn from my mistakes and eat something hot in the evenings.
Yeah.
Get something hot inside you.
Learn from my
Every
mistake
evening.
and eat.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah, eating's being clever. Even though it can, like, if you can do it kind of in character as well, sometimes it's good to have go to the food vans because it's a little bit of an escape as well. It can be a little bit of a because you have a little out of character moment, and it's a little bit different from being in character as well. But yeah, a lot of the time, what puts me off from going up to the food vans is the fact that it's a long walk from Dawn, and so it takes like an hour or so out of your game to.
You're also leaving a lot of the fires as well, which can also like if you are cold at night, like it's quite nice to sit around a hot fire and eat something hot, and you're still in character. You're not missing out on anything, and you're also looking after yourself.
I think
Still not gonna do it.
Yeah,
but,
I think I might organise. I know. Steve had a real good setup at his spot this year with the fire and the food and things like that. I think for our camp, at least at E1, organising something for the maybe not the Saturday night, maybe the Friday night, of like cooking some stew or something like that over.
Why not?
The fire
Why not have a family night?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we definitely had it because we had a little, even though it wasn't planned, we had a nice little family moment on Saturday, didn't we? We had like it just so happened to be like it was just all the group members plus maybe a couple of other people, and we had some nice, but that was like E4, obviously. But I think that's always a good idea, being like, right, okay, we're all going to be in the same place, which gives you, it makes sense that you've got the fire going, because that's the other thing as well. Sometimes you get to your camp. That's the problem we had when we were just like the two of us. We never really had a fire going because it's just like, well, we want to be off other places and there's no one around to watch the fire. But once you get, if there's like 10 of you around in a certain area, then you're like, well, it makes sense for us to have a big fire, which gives you warmth as well.
At E4, I know that's one of the roles that Dad ended up taking up a lot because he quite liked just sitting right down and listening to the conversation. He ended up just setting the fire every night and just sitting there with the fire. And I'm like, that's what we need. Somebody who's there just, keeping it going. There's a fire there, the somewhere warm and light to come back to.
That's why you've got Yo Folk, isn't it? That's why you've got Yo Folk. They do the fire and tidy up the camp and stuff while you guys are off drinking and fighting. And
I love Yo Folk.
Yeah, I love
Yo Folk or children. That's where Dawn have got it right. Use the Yo Folk or the children to clean the camp, make the fires, earn the money.
Yeah.
And then just reap all the benefits.
Yeah. I mean, that's
hey,
how
we're putting ourselves at risk out on that battlefield.
Yeah, I mean that is how it's supposed to work. I mean the obviously the Yo Folk and Noble part of the game is unique on the field. So like you've got to be careful with it. You've got to make sure that if you have Yo Folk, because in general, Yo Folk don't have to listen to nobles in general. No. You tend to listen to the ones in your own house, but even then, if you're in a house and you come in, you play a noble, you just got to make sure, because people, if they want to play like retainer types, that they're obviously up for that game, but you need a lot of like check-ins to be like, hey, look, I know you're like waiting on me, but are you having fun? As long as there's a constant like, you okay, because you don't want to be like, right, let's go here because I need you to take notes for me. It's just like, are you okay if we do the thing, and you're okay to come and take notes for me, and then you can go into character,
That's the delicate balance you've got to have when you are in a role. You can't get carried away with your role.
It's easy to do it as well.
It is so easy to, amount of times that I've been on the battlefield and I've been like, right, I need you to go and punch this line, and there hasn't been enough aggression, or sorry, there has been enough aggression, completely enough aggression, but my little monkey brain goes, no, I said smash that line. Why is that line still there after half a millisecond?
Yeah.
And it's just where that old military brain kicks in, where I'm like, and I constantly have to keep that in check of like, this is a game.
It's a game.
Just chill your boots.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that constant thing of like, it's a game. Everyone's there for fun.
Yeah.
If I start acting like I used to act at work, people won't enjoy it. Unless you've done a check-in.
Well, I think people might do. That's the thing. If people go, look, you know, you are. I mean, that's why the units. That's why when you have people who have, they got the groups and they got the units, and then you're just like, yeah, because we know each other, and we're like, yeah, that's my captain, and I want to play that subordinate. That's fine, you know.
Well, yeah, and so something that some people will notice is most of the ranking people, or not ranking, that's completely the wrong word.
I understand what you mean, though, yeah.
The role-holding people within the Reapers, the main role-holding people, will always have, or will always try and make sure they've got someone following them about. Not for any of that reason, but it's for actual welfare. Because when you're holding a role, and you've got, for Bolam, who was in military council meeting, politicking about military, I used to follow him around and be like, I'm hungry. Have you eaten?
Yeah.
Knowing full well he hasn't eaten because I haven't eaten. And if I'm hungry, he's hungry. He hasn't realized it. And he done exactly the same for me, because he felt as though he had to look after me because it was my first time there. And he was like, oh, we haven't eaten, so we're going to take a break to go and get some food. Emily, both Emilys, my Emily and Emily, artist, Smut Emily. Smut Emily.
Right, so you've brought it up, okay? So
Robin's been waiting for ages for this.
Right. Okay, right. Yes, I brought up the smut. Right.
Because there's a whole other side of the Reapers that I have been able to experience. The Reaper's smut is incredible. And your artist for the Reaper smut is incredible. I still have my little Fark little smut that I was gifted. It's still there.
I think I came across it the other day and I was like, what is
yeah, you found, you were like, what is this? I was like, Fark.
It's just fuck. But no, Emily, who plays Bella, is amazing, absolutely incredible artist. All of her stuff's available in the field for in-character coin. Won't take real person coin for it. In-character coin, amazing. Come and see Bella. She is usually walking around with Fark because she is basically the person who does welfare checks for me and goes, you need to eat food. Or she'll be at the camp or running around somewhere else helping someone else out, because is probably one of the most helpful people and really, really talented as an artist.
Yeah, I will
Has Mortar have the full set of the of the Reaper's smut? Yeah. We do. We have the full set. It is there in our big communal tent.
Yeah,
if people want to have a little browse of it and then go find Bella on the field.
The unknown smut library of House Mortar.
It's turned into a smut library. There's so much there.
It's brilliant. I love it.
I think that onion tent needs to turn into. Well, we've already talked about turning it into a gallery
black
anyway.
Curtain.
Because we've got so many. Yeah, exactly. We could have a little black curtain as well for we could have the art all around. Because we've got tons of this type of art knocking about now, because we've got so many amazing artists. I will say as well, like, I'm not an artist, but I've over the years I've had, I've commissioned art, and I've had very close friends that are artists, and I don't think people understand the value and the bargain you're getting from these artists for buying them for pretend money. Like, go and get your art done of your character for pretend money, because if you want, if you were to go and commission at, these types of talented people in the real world, you might understand that what it's worth.
Yeah.
You're getting a bargain. Okay.
It's not just it's not just art though that you can buy for in-character money. So there is a lovely, lovely guy called Memento Mori.
Mhm.
Have you seen Mori's brass work?
No.
No.
Oh, Mori's brass work is exceptional. I mean, actually, give me a second. I'll put it in the chat. There we go. The handmade brass skull ring is exceptional.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that brass ring for sale for in-character money.
Oh my gosh, these are incredible.
Yeah, that's why quite a few of the Reapers have now got the brass rings for some unknown reason. But for sale for in-character money. I think it was, this is not a quoting me, and Mori hopefully will correct people, but I think it was only about 2 thrones for one of those brass skull rings.
What?
Yeah. It's
Yeah, I mean, when you actually think about it, you're like, well, because you can go and go buy some cupcakes from Tesco or whatever, or other supermarkets are available.
Yeah.
You can go onto the field and sell those cupcakes.
Yeah.
You spent a few quid on those cupcakes, and then trade up to getting a piece of professional art or a professionally crafted piece like that. It's an absolute bargain. I don't know why people don't do more of it.
Or the pizzas from Wintermark.
I still
Have you
need to
guys
try
had-
No, we haven't done it
my
yet.
God.
I've heard it a lot,
haven't
but I've
done
not
it.
tried them.
Mainly because
The
even though I'm preaching here, I'm usually poor at Empire, so
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
yeah. I mean, dying doesn't help. I mean, I wasn't rich before. Dying definitely didn't help
No.
with my finances either at Empire. But it's a lot of the things, a lot of the money we make ends up just going straight back into because
Scott's mead.
Scott's meat. Yeah, I mean we're pretty.
Straight back
Also,
into Scott's
we're pretty ambitious people. We're very virtuous citizens of the Empire. Nymeria and Damon. So in even though they've only done one event, like any money is going to our ambitions. So that usually means like paying for big rituals, or paying for mercenaries, or paying for lots of other stuff. So the money comes in and out. Very quick.
I am very much the same. I am probably the poorest of the Reapers,
Mm-hmm.
because I can't, because I'm busy doing stuff for the company. I generally don't take on I can't take on contracts to go and bodyguard privately,
Mm-hmm.
which is where other people can make money. I can't go and do other activities where people can make money, whereas almost every single other person in the Reapers has got that ability to. Almost. So I get what I get from my welcome pack, and what I get paid from the Reapers for fighting.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But also, because I am proper league, I spend that money probably quicker than it comes in.
Yeah.
I dread to think how much money I would have spent for our drinks at the wine bar and Star Bar.
That was so
Uh,
worth it, though. That was worth it.
And Wise
Coming from the person who
Guys.
didn't pay anything, but like it was worth it.
I didn't pay anything either.
It was when we went to get those shots, and you just walked in and went, "There we go. He's paying," and walked out. I have no idea if you even knew who that was, but I'm hoping they paid for us because we had a lot of drinks.
I'm pretty sure
It was Will.
wasn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't it Will? It was Will. Okay.
It was Will. It was Will who borrowed the money because he only had his drinking purse with him from someone else, and was like, because we've got a really good reputation with Umbar, you know, because it is, you know, correction, it is now Umbar's bar, not Star Bar.
Okay.
Not the Star Tent anymore. But yeah, Umbar's. So yeah, we've got a really good relationship. He is a honorary Reaper, for want of a better phrase, which is why there was that lovely picture of the Reapers at the last Reaper Ball, and he's actually in the center of it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So we got this lovely reputation with him, and he knows we're good for money. He owes us money, we owe him money, so on and so forth. But then it was when we walked into Wise Guys. Never been into Wise Guys before, and Will, unfortunately for Will, he was in front of us. And I went, Will, you're buying our drinks. It was like, all right then.
Yeah, I know that obviously
Will.
it all happened organically, and we were there. We were having drinks with friends, and you know we know you, we know Will, our character, and things like that. But
yeah,
and it was really good game. But for establishing our new characters, I don't know if you understand how much of a great thing that was for establishing like our new characters, because obviously it was the new characters, and we were just we wanted to play. Like, I wanted to be just very Dornish noble, like very Dornish noble, and just going into a first time, you know, this character's first time in Anvil, heading into Wise Guys, meeting the proprietors. Obviously I know the proprietors, like, but as this new character, and then getting, you know, going into the other bar and having drinks paid and sitting there.
That moment of those curtains getting lifted so we can move through to the other bar. It's like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
do you remember how that started?
Dude, I was so drunk at that point. I forgot about the bar until you mentioned it an hour ago, okay?
Really? How come were you, Robin?
So it was that really funny moment of we were stood in Wise Guys, and we'd just been bought these beers, and it was really quite busy in Wise Guys, and I looked over and saw there was this rather empty bar behind this curtain, but there was a seawolf sat in there. So I opened the curtain and went, "What are you doing in here?" "Oh yeah, this is the private bar." "Okay, cool. Come on, we're going into the private bar." And that's how we went in. And then the proprietor of the wine bar went, "Oh, you'll need to buy some wine if you want to be in here." We all had like tankards at this point, and I went, "Will, we need to buy some wine. Buy some wine."
That's right. Yeah. Because you need to buy wine. The idea is if you're in there, you're drinking wine. So
yeah. So
I drank
Will
wine
then
enough
bought.
for both of us, Robin. Don't worry.
So Will bought us a bottle of wine, and he'd gone through the list and was like, "Well, what do you think we should get?" And I went, "That one." And he went, "That's the most expensive one." I went, "You said what one?" You know, I don't know, just wine. And so we ended up buying not the most expensive one, but one of the mid-range wines.
Yeah.
And then we had Salt come in with it was Tom, wasn't it? Tom and oh gosh.
Oh yeah. We Tom and Ian.
Tom and Ian came in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
As well. And then Salt started buying the wines. I was like, and after he saw I was drinking red wine, so instantly took that off of me because I have a little problem where it makes me really, really drunk. So he gave me half a bottle of mead instead.
Yeah.
As opposed to the half a glass of wine that I was drinking.
Yeah,
it was ginger wine. It was lovely.
Yeah, I think going back to what you said earlier, that was at the moment where, because obviously we'd already done the whole military council had been and gone on that Friday night, and we knew we were fighting on the Saturday, and obviously I didn't know that we had a great time. You know, it's testament to our friends who are like generals and that, like, embraced us back into that game. Obviously, you yourself as well, being the military council. Obviously, someone came up to me and was like, "Oh yeah, would you second to lead Dawn tomorrow?" And I'm like, "That's awesome." But then obviously at that time of night, you're like, "Okay, I'm having great fun, but like literally tomorrow I've got actual things that I need to do." So it's a difficult balance because you're sat there, you're like, I should go to bed because I have responsibilities tomorrow, but also this is a game and I'm on holiday and I'm having fun. So
yeah, it was that really lovely evolution of that whole thing of where we were sat there in character talking, and then it just went like hit about 1 o'clock, and without actually anyone noticing it was about 1 o'clock, it went into out of character conversation, and it was just a group of friends having a chat, and that was beautiful, lovely. And then it was about 2:30 where us three turned around and went, we should probably get to bed.
We're all fighting with actual responsibilities tomorrow, and it's 2:30 in the morning. And
hey, we won. Hey,
we won.
Okay. So, you know, we won. We did the thing. We did a good job of helping lead our nation. Imagine how good we would be. That's how good we are. That's what we do when we're hungover. Can you imagine what we'd be like if we was.
it was all. And again, this is that real sort of friendship thing as well, of like during that battle, it was I need this over here. Have you got some water? Do you want some water? It was like doing those welfare things of like, this is why I carry the big bottle, have water, because it was bloody hot.
Like when the person was like leading Dawn was like, as soon as we had like a quiet moment, he was like, right, okay, the next order to hand out is go up and down the line, remind every single person to take a drink of water, because we now have a space. We've got a bit of time here. Everyone take a drink of water. And it was just looking after each other.
I found that quite difficult, you know, when you are taking that bit of responsibility where you're telling people what to do in a game where, like you say, people don't have to listen to you, so you do have to be quite a good people person, you know, because you don't have that like, oh, no one's telling you, right, this is your job, listen to this person, you know. So it's like it was telling people to be like, hey, you know, we're line fighting, remember you can like rotate out to have a break, you know, type thing. So like approaching like all these units being like, hey, you know, like it's, you know, if you want to rotate out, that's cool. And they're like, yeah, we're doing it. I'm like, okay, it's cool. So if you haven't had water already, remember this will be a great time to have water. You're doing great, you know. I love you. See you later.
It was that really funny thing because E4 was exceptionally hot. And I was wearing, obviously, the gambeson and my brig plate.
Oh yeah, that's a really cool piece of armor. That
I love it,
cool.
Absolutely love it. But it is still, so it is a chunky, heavy boy, which isn't too bad when you're wearing it. But what was really funny is the rest of the Reapers were fairly lightly armed. The Reapers who we had there were fairly lightly armed. And, you know, they were pouring water on themselves and stuff like that. And there was me and Bolam going, we'll rust. Don't want to rust. Can't deal with rust. So there was this lovely, lovely point where we were walking back up to our camp to go and strip off our armor after a really successful battle. You know, we performed the objective and stuff like that. And I never realized how steep the hill in League is.
That is a steep hill.
No, it is. It's
until after that battle, and I'm wearing full plate, and both myself and Bolam were like, "Stop!" Ugh. And apparently, one of the other Reapers just looked behind them and just saw us two, both at the same time, go, ugh, and just slog up this hill. The last little bit of effort of like, as soon as we're up this hill, we can take this stuff off.
Yeah. Because
you can't even undo it to let air in, because as soon as you undo it, it hangs wrong and it doesn't feel comfortable. And you'll just...
It feels heavier if you're carrying it in your arms as well. So it's like that weird thing of you take it off so you feel a bit of relief, but then you've got to carry it the rest
Tell you what, as well, like people say this, and I think there is definitely there's definitely like truth to it, because you get that kind of thermos effect that, you know, when you're so covered, obviously you get a little like microclimate going on in here. Because I found that before, when it's hot outside, it's fine if you get hot and it's cool outside, and then you let everything out and you're like, oh, it's cool. But if it's hot outside, you know, and then you're like, oh, I need to take this off, you're probably not going to cool down, because you're literally just, any kind of cool air that was trapped in there, generated by sweat, right? Is you literally open up, you're like, oh, I'm going to take all this hot clothing off, and you're probably going to get even hotter, you know, because then you've got the sun beating down on you then without cover, you know. So,
well, what I found was, one, I soaked my gambeson under the tap before I put it on, because that then basically made a little bit of an ice cooler, which worked for a good 10 minutes, solid 10 minutes. That made me feel cool. And then I just soaked my shirt before putting it on, and it was so hot at Empire that as that evaporated, that just took all the heat away from my body that I was basically cooking myself for. So
it was mad how hot it was for September as well. Like it was so hot. You know, it was the hottest one of the year, being the September one. It was crazy.
Taking bets now. Snow in April.
Might snow in April. Like E3 was really hot as well, because I remember E3 like taking my shirt off and putting it under the hose and putting it back on and doing that multiple times, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah, E3, E2 there was a lot of heat stroke going on at E2, because that was the thing, wasn't it? Like, Robin, you pretty much got like hypothermia at E1 and then heat stroke at E2.
Oh, it was E2 that I was talking about. It was E2. It was really hot.
The one that was that was like, because obviously E3 was the one we died, but the E2 was the one that we got like, you got crazily hot after that battle. But a lot of people were struggling. We were, you know what helped obviously was being more of a command situation actually, than E2, where we were like front light fighting, just going full ham all the time, you know. At least when you are in a bit more of a you know, you're more of a that role, when you have a role where you're like backing up and looking at what's going on, you're not constantly just doing this like sprint of like fight, you know. You're mainly standing around looking and talking to people, you know.
And it is more mentally draining than physically draining, and you feel your throat the next day, and
you gotta, I mean, I think I think coming to actually Empire in general, like there's a lot of public speaking obviously at Empire, even if it's not just directly to people who are, you know, actively listening to you, are going to be doing a lot of like speaking outside to a lot of people. It's probably worth practicing that a little bit. Because a lot of people, sometimes you can hear them on that battlefield and they don't quite know how to
you can hear people like shouting from their throat, sort of thing. You're like, oh, that is going to be so sore.
It's going to be sore.
I am a big gut sucker for that. I will always shout from my throat, and I will just keep on going. And which is why when it comes to monstering, I'll be like, nope, not taking any command. I'm just going to not, because I know I've got meetings. And
I forgot we ended up monstering that. We died next to each other, didn't we?
That was fun. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
It was that, you know, it was a shame that Aranel and Godric died, but they seem to be cursed. Heat stroke, you know, cold, you know, then they died. No injuries at E4, just saying.
Oliver did say that at the start of E3. He was like, right, so you got hypothermia at E1, you got heat stroke at E2. What are you going to get at E3? Well, I died.
you died. Well, you also had a bit of a moment in the monstering as well, didn't you?
Oh, I also couldn't be monstering early because I got stabbed in the throat.
Yeah. It's
always something.
Nymeria was fine.
Again, it's like that lovely phrase of Weird Biff Falarad of fate is inexorable. Things happen for a reason. You don't know them at the time. It's, you know. But again, it's I love these new characters. They are so, and they're very fun to play with.
Oh, thanks. Well, I mean, honestly,
I'm
like,
glad.
like, you know, having like friends like yourself, coming in. What's exciting about? I know you haven't done it yet, but what's exciting about creating a second character when you've played for a while is that I was like, right, cool. I can actually have like connections. I can cut because you actually come in hitting the ground running with the new character. You know, it's like you could be like, especially if you're like if you got like a good time to figure it out and be like, I know like dying halfway through an event and then coming with a second character might be a bit clunky, but for this character, I was messaging you, a few other people that was like, yeah, like I literally sent my backstory to a load of people and was like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
this is my backstory. So when you see me in the field, do whatever you want with it, basically, and just be like, look, you can be like, oh, hey, like this character has been in the world for a while, and I knew because having played for a couple of years, being like, right, I kind of know how to make a character that's going to fit in this world straight away, So having people like you being like and taking that up and being like, oh yeah, we have this history and things like that, and it really made it a great character to play.
It was really funny because obviously the two different ways you two went about it actually was very in character as well. So I got this message from Oliver with like a Google Doc with like this is my history. I want to do this. How can you slot in? So I wrote this lovely little story, a very brief thing about how Damon and Fark knew each other. And I was like, how do I write this? The only way I can do it is write it in character from the perspective. And because I couldn't do the list thing. Whereas Robin sent me a message, was like, yeah, I want to know you. What can we do? I was like, yeah, well, just say we're drinking buddies. Cool. Yeah. And it was like really efficient spreadsheet, this. Yeah. We get drunk. Cool.
We made a cool story up about a boot.
And then it was so in character as well. And I didn't realize how in character that was at the time. And it's like then meeting the characters for the first time, like in person, having met the characters in history.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so fun to play with. And also it's like Damon's quite straight-laced. So how can I push that to the limit?
Yeah.
Oh, let's come in for a cuddle. Hey! The little. So everyone, quite often when people talk about LARP, they're like, oh, I let my little Chaos Goblin out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chance for me to let my Chaos Goblin out. For me, I hold mine in a lot more at LARPs than I have in real life. In real life, I am much more Chaos Goblin. I will, occasionally, it will slip out and I'll be like, what can I do? Someone was talking about this magic competition once, and I went, we could just send someone in with a mass weakness. That would be really funny. Mass weakness, I win the magic competition because I can also use swords. And I was like, that would be hilarious to do. So I said that out loud, and they got really upset with me suggesting it, and it was, but Dolly found that hilarious, that whole idea of how can we mess with the system. There are other things that have happened, which I won't talk about, that I have got involved with just to mess with things because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I think that's quite glorious. It's just winning at any cost.
Winning? No, it's not even winning at any cost. It's just if you can catch someone with something that isn't illegal, isn't, unvirtuous, and is just rather funny. So it's no, I can't actually. Nope, that's not something I can actually talk about. But yeah, so
open up that bottle of wine.
No, this is not something I can talk about. It's to do with something that is ongoing game. So
yeah. Like, I mean, it was quite fun messaging people to get characters sorted. The way that I kind of went about it was I had people that I was like comfortable with, because it took me a long time to actually feel like comfortable and safe and going around, because you are spending a full weekend with all these people.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, these are the list of people that I've made connections with as RNL, but it's actually because I feel comfortable and safe with these people.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure that those are already there, so that when it comes to the first event, this new character, I've got these connections with these people. So it is organic, it's in character, but then out of character, I've got people I can just go and role play with, and it's not weird.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know who you want to play with. Like I said, I sent a load of, backstories
spreadsheets.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. But by the way, it's a little bit of because Robin will freak me out and be like, "Oh, I'm all organized. What have you done?" I'm like, "Oh crap, I need to do his stuff," and then I'll do something, and then people will lay back to me and be like, "Oh God, Oliver, you were really organized and you did all this and you were really efficient." I'm just like, that's not how Robin made me feel, But yeah, I sent out things to people that I enjoy playing with, or people that I haven't had so much game with and I would like game with, but yeah, they were people that I knew, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a good. Also that and there was a few people I sent stuff to that were in like either nations or parts of the game that I haven't been a part of that I would like to be a part of, and be like, oh, this is a good like in for me, because that's it. When you first start, you're like, I would like to have a look around Highguard, but there's no reason for me to walk into Highguard. Whereas if you have been in the game a while and you have friends in the game, someone who's in a part of the game that's in Highguard, that you're like, oh well, this is easy. I just like make my backstory with you who's in Highguard, and then I've got an excuse to just walk up to Highguard and be like, yo, let's talk about this thing. That was my thinking. So it worked out well, I think.
Yeah, I think that is a brilliant way. I think it was a really good idea. I also think staying where you were was also a really good idea, because you'd only just sort of found your feet with the group, and so that all made complete and utter sense. However much we did want you in League, because fabulousness.
Well, I'm sorry, but I think the Crimson Reapers need to just, you've already admitted it, that it's a really big hill to walk up. If you just move your camp down,
it would be.
We're already in the right color scheme. And we'll just have a little,
Again, that is one of those, we need to build up that connection more. I still need to tie down Nick to drag him over to House Mortaire to come and say hello. I've managed to drag a few of the Reapers over to come and say hello.
You have
to House Mortaire.
Yeah. I mean, we'll need an in character like Big Reason for maybe a big gathering, but
like a curse.
Ooh. Give me at some point in the future, after the Reapers Ball, probably I may have a reason for that, because obviously we've got our big winter celebration thing at Winter E1.
Yeah, winter's going to be good, because we're a very wintry group as well, so I'm looking forward to
So, but that would if. Yeah, I'll have a chat to a few people and see if we can.
We've got a lot of in-character stuff to talk about at the player event.
At the Reapers Ball.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking forward to that.
Cannot wait for Reapers Ball.
I am looking forward to that, because I think, yes, I'm going to be going in with the role, but I'm not going to I'm not going to be getting drunk as I did last time. So
does that mean we are not going to see Arabella at Reaper's Rest?
No, she probably won't be coming out, because I will probably just be wearing my day mask, which is just a skull, basically, half skull mask.
I like your day mask. It is quite cool, actually. It's a cool aesthetic.
I've got the day mask, half skull, and then I've got the fighty mask, the gold and black. And then I've got Arabella, the party mask for
party animal.
yeah, literally party animal.
I like it. I need a mask for Nymeria though, because like I've been looking at masks and I've actually found inspiration for a mask that looks really cool, and I'm going to
I
attempt
thought
to
you'd
make
already
it.
got some.
I ordered 4. I'm just
Yeah.
really indecisive.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
At this point, it's going to be just all of them. Well, like I wanted one like on a stick that I can like hold up.
That very Venetian style.
Yeah, because I was like, is that going to be annoying holding it up the whole time?
I would say yes. You wouldn't have to hold it up the whole time, but it would be it would probably get annoying quite quick.
That's the issue, because I'm like the ones that actually attach to your face, I worry about it like rubbing against like my makeup and things. But maybe I should actually speak to some League players who wear a lot there and be like, hey, what do you do to combat that?
Yeah. So yeah. Again, I'm not the one to ask. Well, I say this. I had to modify my Arabella mask because apparently I've got a massive nose, so I had to cut out the bottom of the Arabella mask because it was really annoying on my massive honk. So I was, you know,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a mask. But again, I'd never worn makeup. Well, I'd never, sorry, applied makeup to myself until E4, which
Your
I
makeup
went.
was cool at E4.
I
liked it.
I very much appreciated the makeup. I thought that was a nice aesthetic, especially for the, as I was saying, the My Chemical Romance phase of fuck. You know, he is definitely going through his, oh no, the Black Plateau phase.
It worked though. It looked really good. It was a really cool
Yeah.
aesthetic, and it just added that extra little bit to him, like, you know, oh, what's brought this upon?
Yeah. Again, not many people know, or not many people said anything, but again, it was there. I felt happy with it, and I was like, cool. This was quite nice. I didn't bother putting it on for the Sunday after Monstream because I had way too much that I needed to do because I still hadn't got a contract for the Reapers for on the Sunday. And yeah, God, that was a nightmare because I don't know if anyone else felt this, but it felt like there was next to no money in the field. It was
Yeah.
the field felt very dry. No one was willing to put their hands in their pockets, and you know,
Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's because end of year or something like that. People were just like looking towards trying to get stuff done, rituals done, and things like that, and we're probably spending a lot. I'm not entirely sure, but
the Wayne's market had a massive crash from what I've been told, and you know, money things, money politic things. Again, this is what I mean. I'm so in the small unit military game. I'm nowhere near interested in doing the general stuff. Doesn't interest me. Can't do the quick maths. Can't do the sat down listening to people talk. I can't do that. It's not. Well, it's not FARC. FARC gets bored of people talking, so we'll just stand up and walk off if people are talking too much.
Bring other people drinks. That's
yeah. I will stand and listen to the things that are important for a small unit tactics. Yeah. So it's like I stayed for the Lances meeting because I was like, I'm fighting under a Dornish field marshal, and they're the ones who are obtaining the objective that we've got to get our ritual team to. So I need to know what their role is.
Well, I mean, information is very, very powerful. Like it's, yeah, I mean, it's everything, you know, and you will get information you need for like leading a unit at those field marshal debriefing and your nation's debriefing. They will literally tell you, hey, these are the targets, look out for this, look out for that. The information is there, you know, and a lot of times people don't show up to them, and then there's confusion on the battlefield, and people go, oh yeah, what are we supposed to do in on? Oh yeah, what's that? And it's like, well, the information was there. It was there.
Yeah, I see, because I will get all the information, and again, my love of the Reapers continues. That one of the reasons I love them is no one generally cares where we're going, who we're fighting, who we're
Yeah.
fighting with. They're
That's
like,
most of the field, by the way. Like most of the
Yeah.
field are just there, and they're there for the weekend. They're just like, "Cool, we're going to fight tomorrow." Cool, and they don't. Sometimes they don't even know where they are. You know. So.
and but because of they don't really care. Just tell me who we're fighting with, what we're doing, and that's all we care about. What we're doing, who we're fighting with.
Right.
Okay. They take orders from me or my sergeant. They don't take orders from anyone else. Even the contract holder will go up to a Reaper and be like, "Oh, can we get you to do this?" And they're like, "We don't know who you are. Go and speak to him, or fornicate off." That's
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know.
but that's effective. That's the thing, and you can't. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, everyone should work that way because that's just not the game. People
No.
want to play the game they want, but it is effective that way. Like it was way more effective in Dawn for me to go and basically speak to people as that, because we had everyone kind of stuck to the idea of we have lances, which are our small units. And then the lances clumped together to work together in like wings. So we had these big units, and it was way easier for me to speak to people as groups rather than individuals. Because the problem is you walk up to a group of people, if I just say and I say their lance name, it's way easier than if I speak to one person, because one person is going to be like, wait, who are you? What? No, we're doing this, we're doing that, or blah, blah, blah. I can just be like, hey, this lance, here's the information, goodbye, and I can just turn around, and I'm like, you can do that information one. But if I'm speaking to one person, I'm not entirely sure who that person is either. I'm like, you kind of look like you're in charge, or you're shouting the loudest, so maybe you're in charge of this land, so I'll speak to you, and then I don't know whether that information has just been wasted or not.
Yeah. Again, it's that small units work. Small units as part of a bigger unit. It's almost as if the army works in sections, then platoons.
Yeah.
Then...
Right.
It's almost as if it works like that.
I don't know.
That's the issue that we definitely have in the bigger nations. Like Dawn is very bad for that. Like it's what everyone they have these lances, which are usually made up of like a couple of house groups, and then they all come together. Well, we're part of this lance. And then the lance gets like huge. You end up with 100 people in this lance, and it's then just a blob of bodies. And one end of the lance has no idea what the other end of the lance is doing, and then it's not a lance anymore. So that's why we've been trying to like break it down and be like, okay, because it's like you said, it's way more effective to have for if I'm going to go to one wing and be like, hey, here's the information, we're getting hammered over here, then that's up to the person who's in charge of the wing to say to the lance commanders, okay, well, we need someone to go over there and help those people, and then the lance commanders can then be like, oh yeah, we can go do that, and I'll tell my lance that we're going to do that. So it trickles down, instead of one person being like, you over there, you guys need to move over here, because the people aren't going to listen to that at all.
Yeah. I will say, Dawn's very sword and boardy, though, isn't it? Sword and boardy, heavy armor.
Oh no, yeah, 100% we're heavy. Yeah, 100%.
So,
no one would deny that. Yeah.
Perfect line fighters.
Yeah, I mean,
earlier you were saying cavalry, but you're too many numbers to.
Oh no, yeah, no, we can hold a lot. Like we said, we can hold a line and we can push it. It's just we're not the marchers, and we're not Wintermark. Like we're like. We don't have formations that like no one goes right. Let's get into a formation. We are like I've described this before as like a swarm of killer bees. You know what I mean? You can't they work well as a group because that's why they're a swarm. But trying to push them into a shape is freaking impossible. You just have to go. You just have to go. All right, there's the enemy. Bat the hive, and then run, and then hopefully they attack the thing that's in front of them. I think that's kind of how Dawn works.
It would be cool though to see Dawn work as a line, but what you do is you have two of your sort of, what are they called? Little units.
Lances, yeah.
Lances, yeah.
That's what I mean. They're supposed to be small. That's why they're supposed to be lances.
But if you worked like as multiple heavy lances with swords and boards, and then you were to just have two lances or mercenary groups, so you've got, at the moment, Dawn has got the
Oh no, we have
gosh.
we have a lot.
Yeah, you've got a hefty. You got the sea wolves. You've got the what are they called? What are the budgeries called? Why can't I think of the budgery guards' names?
Butchery cards.
The other mercenary group led by Tom.
Jackdaws.
Jackdaws, that's the one.
Oh, yeah.
You got the jackdaws. You got the sorry, puddle puppies, the budgery guards, the reapers, and I think there is one other who I'm forgetting, and I feel terrible if I am. Mercenary groups within Dawn. You've got the heavy pikes of the puddle puppies. Again, a lovely group, really, really effective, really cool unit for a small unit. You've got the budgeries, who they're lovely, lovely people, really, really chaotic good. But if you were to use those as skirmish forces to punch out lines, if you just split a lance very briefly and then you chuck through the League mercenaries, that could be a really, really, really efficient sort of
because those mushroom groups, they are really good at just doing that punch through things, just to let everyone else
Dawn are pretty good at, because we're not static like Wintermark
no.
can be, and the marches, because we're way more fluid than that. So if we need to
push that you guys done on push that you guys done, I can't remember which battle it was, but it was like being on the on the monster side, and there was just this swarm coming towards us. It was like,
that's what I mean.
They're not stopping.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're more like the cavalry, because we need momentum. It's like Dawn becomes very ineffective when we start stopping and moving backwards. Like if we're moving backwards, we become because we fold very quickly. That's what I mean. So if you have like a line of the way the Wintermark do it, and Dawn, probably the League as well, and Urizen, they'll come as a unit. They can push. But then when they need to start moving back, they can move back. Dawn need that as soon as, like horses, like as soon as they're not very good at running backwards. As soon that if we're going forward and we have momentum and the brief as well, because we're a nation of like individual. The houses are very individuals, and heroes within those houses are very individual. So being like, let's all line up and wear the same thing is not very Dawnish.
Yeah, not very Dawnish. No,
we're more like the Avengers at the end of Endgame. We're just like a load of individual heroes that have been just plumped together, and then they're like, Avengers assemble, and then we use the momentum of the energy to go. But then as soon as, because this is how we died basically, like as soon as we start going, oh shit, we're on the back foot, we're not very good at going backwards, because as soon as we start going backwards, then it's not good for us,
Yeah. I think that was the battle you were talking about, when we all like went through the field like at a real alarming rate. I'm pretty sure that was one of the last times that we fought like with Navarre, because I remember clearing the field in like seconds, because Navarre went through the woods and we went through the field, and I just remember being like, wow, we are not stopping. Like, do they know we're not stopping? Because it doesn't feel like we're going to stop.
Any other nation can do
here.
that, but it's just that we default to that. I think that's our default tactic is just going full ham. But then when we're not going forward, that's when things go very wrong for us.
Yeah. But again, it's that really cool thing though of every nation has their own amazing agenda. I'd love to fight with Varushka. Just saying, I'd love to fight.
They
with
are
Varushka.
fun to fight with.
Yeah,
they're terrifying.
Varushka are really fun. The Urizen are they've got some really good units in there that will fight like dogs. The Brass Coast in like this year compared to last year, I'm not criticizing the year before. Well, I'm just saying that this year in particular, I've noticed that the Brass Coast are like very underrated as a nation of fighters, because they have been that they've been killing it every single battle last year. They absolutely killed it.
I will say every nation is exceptional, and again, the pant-wetting joy that I had of watching the Marchers Billhook line march forward, front rank kneel, and the archers over the top as soon as that front rank was kneeling, and then they stonked in.
Yeah.
That gave me pant-wetting joy at E4 on the Sunday, and I was a monster. And it was like, that has made me so happy. I don't think I can fight anymore.
No.
I am spent. bring me a new Yagara. This one's done.
Yeah. That's the type of thing I mean. Though I'd like that type of.
That doesn't work with Dawn.
It's not a. It may be a weakness if you look at it a certain way from Dawn, but it's built from the bottom up from our brief as well. Like our brief is very much. We're very, even though we have houses, we're very individualistic. We want to be individuals within our own house. And even like if you go to, it's difficult to gauge what Dawn as a nation feels about something. Like
it would be scary if Dawn did get organized into doing it not individually. The amount of time, the amount of times I've heard for glory and then watch one person on their own go in and get absolutely decimated, and then we have had to send a fighting force in to go and retrieve that one person. Yeah, it's like
that's the wrong time to run it for glory. That's not glorious.
It's like with the virtues in mind, wisdom.
I mean, glory is about legacy, and if your legacy is that you were the idiot that ran off and died for no reason,
we were holding a rear guard action on the Sunday, and people kept on pushing forward individually to I don't know what they were trying to do, but we were just holding rear guard, and then we had to go and save people then. Because someone had run in to save them on their own, they ended up going down as well. So we're now saving 2 people.
Yeah,
and it was like, if you just give us a few minutes to actually reorganize and work out what's going on, we would have actually just pushed forward as a unit, pushed them back. What we actually needed to do is make sure that if we pushed forward, we wouldn't get outflanked ourselves, and then that one casualty turns into, 12 casualties. It's you've got to have that mindset, and yes, running in and going and save someone is beautiful, amazing. Sometimes you got to cut your losses.
You do, and everyone's got to be in the same page. Sometimes you have to gauge it, because there have been times where someone goes down and you gauge it, and you're just like, not everyone's on the same page here, because we could, if we all just walk forward, we can do it. Like that night skirmish we did at E4 in 2022, that's what that happened there. A few people went down, and basically it was literally a matter of just like, well, if we all walk forward, then we can go get them. But everyone, you could just sense the energy of the Imperials was just defeated. Like it was just if one or two of us run in, people aren't going to follow us. Whereas when we did that skirmish that you led, Robin, the first one, and people were going down, but we were in such a rhythm, even though we were moving backwards, we were like,
that first skirmish, people did go down.
And we just
we were just like, forward. No one is, I'm not having a single casualty.
Then, because we had loads of times, we were like, move forward, bum, like, and then we'd get that person up, and then we'd start moving backwards again, then someone else would get entangled, and then go down, and then the entire group was like, no, but bang, over the top of them again, and but you could just feel the energy. It was just like, if we all go, we're all going to go. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes people are like so tentative that you're like, no, if I run in, I'm going to die. So
it's also, you've got to make that calculated decision of, oh, right, so I've got to run forward 20 paces. Oh, doggo. I've got to run forward 20 paces. I can guarantee the 5 people next to me will run forward those 20 paces with me. But then what happens is, they've got you run forward with 5 people, they've got 20 people. All they do is they just wrap around you. And it's, you just see it happen so often. Oh my gosh, so adorable. You just see it happen. And again, I genuinely think that Dawn would be the most formidable force if it wasn't for that individuality. If it was just if they were to form a shield wall and just stonk and just keep on stonking.
Sometimes we do, like, and that's what I mean. It's a little bit like the Avengers. It's all like we all have our own comic book, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, we'll do it sometimes for, you know, a crossover special, you know, and we'll be like, hey, you know, let's all work together. But then a lot of the time it will devolve into, well, that house is doing that house is doing that house is about this, that house is about that. You know, we'll go off and do all the thing. And by the way, that's not criticism. Like, that's what I love about the brief. The brief is made to be like that. I love it. I love that about the brief. I love...
Again, none of this is criticism. This is all just, I think it would be amazing. You know, one minor criticism is sometimes Dawn gets overexcited and overextends.
Oh,
and
that's
no.
100%. I was going to say, that's not as a nation. They don't always overextend, but occasionally you'll see, like, lances overextend and then...
Oh, yeah. But it's so easy with that tactic. That's why I keep referring to them as the cavalry. So when you're playing, like, Total War games and you're like, okay, my cavalry's going to come in and smash, but how often you're like, ah, shit, they've overdone it, and now I've got a load of my cavalry just in the middle of this unit, and my entire army is back there because they're slower, you know, and they haven't run in. I'm like... Okay, crap. Well, the cavalry's gone, you know, because they're surrounded and that's it, you know. So it happens a lot with that tactic, and that's why I keep, like, I
So
think...
what you're saying, Oliver, is Dawn's disposable. What?
No.
That's what I just heard you say.
I mean, I will say, because the most popular nations in Empire are actually, they do actually get refilled pretty quickly. So technically, they can be quite disposable. Like the Navarre, Wintermark, and Dawn. Technically, they're probably going to get new people in the ranks of those nations because people do come to those nations. But
yeah, they do. They again, they are amazing nations in their own rights. Navarre is just... I love fighting with Navarre, just saying.
Yeah, I like fighting with Navarre.
I absolutely adore fighting with Navarre. I love fighting with... I actually love fighting with Wintermark. I actually really enjoyed it. Fighting with the Stormborn Spears, specifically a unit I will mention in Wintermark. They are such a good unit because they are also quite heavy skirmishers.
Yeah.
So we worked really, really well together when they weren't forced onto a line and when they're held in reserve to just smash. That is when they're really, really, really potent. Yeah. Because everyone is good to fight with in their own individual right.
Oh yeah.
And that's something I will say. I've got this lovely joy of floating around between being League.
Yeah, the League is funny because obviously there's not really been a battle I can remember where we haven't had the League in some form on the battlefield because of the way that the nation is put together with the mercenary banners. Yeah,
it does mean that our national block is kind of small, but I enjoyed working with them at E4. It was really cool to watch the way they worked, and they, for such a small force, they really took names, and that was nice to see. So everyone's got their own speciality. Everyone's got their own way of doing things. I do think that trying to work out how we can get these to complement each other.
Well, that's the general's job, you know. That's literally what the generals. Even though that's the thing, like it's you know, people go, oh yeah, this nation is good at this and bad at that, and people might think that's like, you know, for lack of a better word, shitting on certain nations if they say certain things, but it's literally the general's job to know. I mean, and that's one good thing about, we were talking about hats earlier. I will say for the generals that have had those seats for a long time, it's good that there are people that have lots of experience in those hats because they do know the nations, and that's the thing. If you are a new general, and we're all up for new generals, but I think it's good in those, especially the military council, not especially, but from what I know, the military council, the generals need to know, you know, need to have an idea of, okay, what nations are good at what in general. You know?
It's also very easy to be a backseat general and sit there and going, oh, you should have done this or that or the other, and the worst decision to make is no decision at all. Make a decision, good or bad. It's better than none.
Also, like role play advice, and some of my favorite people on that field who are generals do this. Obviously, they stand up and they say, even if they know it's going to be unpopular, they're like, this is the plan we should be doing, and the way the military council works, it facilitates that, because it's like, well, okay, well, let's put forward what we think. You say, hey, this nation should go with this nation, or this is the plan we should have, and then then you get to, after the fact, if they didn't go for that, be like, well, I did say, yeah.
Well, this is something that there is a military force in the world, which I won't name the name of the nationality of it because of YouTube but they actually, YouTube guidelines or what have you, they kind of, but I won't mention the nation, but they actually have a person whose job it is to be devil's advocate in their military. That every single military meeting, they will assign someone to be the devil's advocate, just in case everyone agrees, and there will have to be someone who doesn't and have to put forward an argument as to why they don't agree. Because then you will see negative possible solutions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good role players that will do that. I mean, I noticed that in Senate, even though I've like the one time I've sat through some Senate stuff. It's good political role players will do that, even though it's like, okay, well, I know that the general consensus is that we want to vote this way, but this game is too easy for these senators, and it's not creating enough drama here. So I am literally going to stand up, and I'm talking about like the Baron stuff. Robin, like, there was a couple of senators that just stood up to be like, you could tell they were like, no, this is the way we want it to go. It's obviously
what about the Empress stuff as well?
It's going to be, exactly. They kind of knew, all right, it's going to go to Dawn, but I'm going to stand up and just say, oh, what about this type thing? I mean, there was one person that was like, actually didn't want it to go to Dawn, but that's definitely a thing that you will find in an Empire, and good role players will stand up, because it's a political game at the end of the day,
Yeah, exactly. And it just gives you so much chance to do these sorts of things as well, and it's cool to watch from the sidelines, because I have no interest in any big hats whatsoever. The last thing I want to do is have a big hat. I am very happy leading a small group of mercenaries, who not many people have heard of, and they just leading them in battle is just so fun. I don't want any more than that. I don't need any more than that, because they're amazing. The Reapers are amazing people, and just a really good friend group as well. And I generally have a mental crash on a Saturday night. I will have a mental crash on a Saturday night from about 9-10 o'clock. But what I will do is, because all the Reapers are scattered to the wind, because that's what they do, I will sit down basically outside my tent or in the Reapers group tent and be like, I am personally out of character because I can't carry on being fuck, but we are still in character. So please tell me your information in character if you want, but I am not going to react to it in character. I just need to know whatever the words you're saying. Because you get burnt out. It's easy in the field to get burnt out, because it's full on.
It is
really
it's hours upon hours upon hours. I mean, anybody who's ever like, again, I know you're saying about like D&D and that, but you've played tabletop since, have you?
I have done the Aliens game.
Oh, there you go. So
I have done the Aliens game with Steve.
So yeah, I mean, usually a TTRPG session will be like 3 or 4 hours, and then there's those of you that have done like 8-9 hour D&D sessions, and where you're just going for it. Like, that is super tiring, like it's great, and then you do it and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe we went for 9 hours. That time we went for like 9 hours playing D&D, that was crazy, and we went up to we stayed up so late. LARP, the weekend at Empire is like, you know, fivefold that, you know,
Yeah.
and it is a lot, you know, it's a lot. And sometimes because you want to do everything, and like you say with the FOMO stuff, like I totally get that. You always get to that weekend being like, oh, I should have done that. I wish I'd done that. Wish I'd done this. And then you go, oh, I wish it was like a 4-day event. But then you come back and you're like, thankfully it's not a 4-day event, because that would kill me, you know. It would be too much, you know, because it's a lot.
But yeah, yes and no, because it's
you
like
want it to be a 4-day event. I don't think I could cope with it being a 4-day event.
I just think you could spread stuff out a bit more. It wouldn't be so intense, because you could, again, people have done this, and you know they'll correct me because I know I'm really new to this hobby. But I'm like, over 4 days you can spread it out. You don't have to have the battle on the Saturday, battle on the Sunday. You could have a break and stuff like that.
Because I know that, like, I've had conversations about this where, because I know like some big LARPs will run for like a week or so. I mean, if it was going to be an Empire thing where they had it be a full week, then yeah, that it would be like, okay, we're going to have the big battles like at the end or something like that, and you wouldn't have a big battle every day. That's the thing. I mean, that's one good thing about the Fridays, that you know you're not going to go for a big old battle, and that's the good thing about skirmishing. People who are combat hungry always have something to kind of do. I think that's the idea. Also, if you had it more days, then there would be more skirmishes. People wouldn't, because it's getting to the point where obviously people aren't getting on skirmishes that want to go on skirmishes,
like,
which is a shame.
That's one of the big things. I mean, like when obviously when Arnell was Knight Protector, that was one of the things I was like trying to get like all these new people out on skirmishes, because like it was so many of them were just getting like, we've got brand new players who really wanted to be on a skirmish and they couldn't, because every skirmish was high threat to the point where there's too many repercussions if it goes wrong. And then you've got people who are not necessarily new players, but they've been at the game so much, and every time they go to a skirmish they're getting kicked off at the end. So that's why I was like, every skirmish I want like between like 8 and 10 spaces dedicated for brand new players or first time skirmishers, because otherwise they just keep getting kicked off. But more skirmishes that were not of a lower threat but lower repercussions to the Empire would be quite cool to get these new people onto them.
Yeah, we talked about this before, right, Robin? I was like, because a lot of them that they're giving us now in the skirmishes are just like, oh yeah, this will affect this army, and this is the responsibility of this general or this senator or this champion of this virtue. And it's just like, they could probably do with some more like new player friendly, like, oh, go off and kill a monster and it not have like any repercussions for the greater campaign. So that, because that's the thing, a lot of the times the hats actually don't want to go on skirmishes because they've got too much to do, but because they are the general of this army and they've been literally given this skirmish, they're like, crap, I need to do the skirmish, cool, I need to bring my friends on who are all like been playing for a long time, we want to win, so we want a powerful team, we've got all this money, we've got these resources, and then the new players don't really get a look in. But if they had some other skirmishes that didn't have allocated people to lead them, you know, I mean, I guess that's kind of how the academy stuff works, even though it's the academy that's given this, like, okay, that's the stuff for the academy. There's not really it's just like, oh yeah, this is just something that you guys get to go off and do and just have fun with. You know?
But also, if you know, the amount of times I've seen generals having to pull on their armor to go into a skirmish whilst they're sat in the military council tent having to do votes on things that are actually quite important, and they're having to pull on their armor because as soon as they can, they need to go off to this skirmish that they're having to lead. It's like, I just want them to have a bit more time. Just a few more hours, just so they can look after themselves a little bit.
It's difficult as well, because obviously, like, next year, with work commitments and things like that, we're probably not going to be able to come. We're going to be able to come to every event, it looks like, but we're not going to be able to be there like the Thursday, and we might have to be like arriving like late on Friday and things like that. The fact that it is a weekend, like having it
I think it might end up being like, you're going to be there the Thursday night, and then you have to come back and get me for Friday.
Having it roll over to like a Monday or a Tuesday would be like, a lot of people wouldn't be able to come, so it's difficult. I think they've got an all right balance there, but
again, they have done, again, they've been doing this a lot longer than I have. They know a lot more than me.
Because I know they used to. I know they used to have like 3 or 4 day events. I know
they used to do it on a Monday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have trial and error a lot of it.
So, you know, but from a new perspective, I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool. Again, for me, it's just I want more of an excuse to be able to hang out with my friends when they're not having to run left, right, and Chelsea because they've got 25 meetings to do in half an hour. And, you know, it's...
Well, this is what I'm starting to think about, like, the types of LARPs I want to do now, because people go, oh, you should try this LARP, try that LARP. The type of LARP I actually want to do now, in addition to a game like Empire, because that already takes up a lot of my time, would actually be like a private LARP with my friends.
Yeah.
So you could be like, right, okay, we're going to run this game, and it's going to be, you know, this group of friends, and we're going to get to role play all together and have time together. That's more what I'm interested in now, rather than going to... I'm up for trying other big LARPs or other systems, things like that, but that's actually what I want now, you know?
Do you know what would be really cool? Like, I don't know if this could actually work, but okay, Empire has 4 big events a year. What if every E3 runs for a week? So there's the 4 events, but the 3rd event, it runs for a full week, where they still balance it out so that people that can only do the weekend have the same sort of things. And then there's like a few hours off on the Sunday afternoon for people to pack down or set up, depending what's happening. And then it runs for the rest of the week for the load of other things.
Yeah, it's different.
Because that would also fall in school holidays as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
And that's why you're saying that, Robin, yeah. I do know that they used to do, like, Empire used to run on, like, the bank holiday weekends. But now I think that's what, like, Curious Pastimes do, or Lauren. I can't remember which one, but one of them basically runs on just the bank holiday weekends, which... then obviously the issue then is that they can't go back to that because there's a lot of crossover play there as well with refs and things like that, so it's difficult. But then the bank holiday weekends are not as equally spaced apart, whereas currently the way they have it is like every 6 weeks it's an Empire, you know.
You know, they're doing the best they can with it. You can't please everyone.
It's
working.
The game's growing every year.
Exactly. It's, you know, I'm just talking about what I would love. Can we not just run Empire for 6 months of the year? Just 6 months a year, because it's a brilliant escape. It
really is.
Just have it running for 6 months of the year, and you can dip in and out as you need to for work.
I mean,
there'd be no possible implications for PD if they were to just constantly run it. So as soon as you step into the field, you're back in character.
So like I could leave work, come to Empire. Instead of going home at night, I'd go to Empire and be like, oh yes, I've been out fighting all day. I was in the Barrens doing this. How is everyone? I have my evenings in Empire. And my weekends.
Well, this is this is the gap that LARP, because you can do
amazing.
Because I know that people do, you know, they play the weekly LARPs, and this is a thing, right? I know the 3 of us aren't like, you know, we're not old school LARPers. I know there are still games that like run like literally weekly that people just do. These linear systems that people do, but I mean that's the gap now that LARP has to jump over somehow. Is obviously that's what you do with like MMO video games, you know, like World of Warcraft. Like you literally finish work, jump into another world straight away, you know, whereas obviously LARP, it's a big like I've got to go buy the stuff and I've got to like drive there, and it's a big like we have to be there, and then obviously everyone has to be participating at the same time. It's not really something you can do in a vacuum at all, LARP.
No.
That's the tricky thing, and that's the tricky thing about like bringing it out to a lot of people and being like, hey, come and do this thing. But the more people doing it, the more the more stuff there's going to be, you know, hopefully.
It would be so pipe dream would be amazing to do.
Yeah,
completely unrealistic.
Which, before we wrap up, because we are like we've gone for so long, Yeah, oh my god, we've gone for so long. It's great. I'm having
this 1 hour, right?
I'm having too much fun. It's been
this
the
1 hour is extended a bit.
the longest podcast episode ever. It'll be fine. No one will care. Everyone will watch it because they love us, right?
Or you just split it into two.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. So before we wrap up, like, what would be your like ideal, like, if money wasn't an option and you could create a LARP, what LARP would you create?
I personally wouldn't create a LARP.
No.
I don't have the imagination. So it would be, if money wasn't an option, something that I would love to do is there is an island in Devon called Burge Island that is currently up for sale for 15 million. It's got a hotel on there, and you're buying the island and the hotel.
15 million?
15 million.
Is that all?
Yep.
What?
Yep. And you get the island. It's a small island.
You couldn't buy a row of houses in south of England for that.
I know. You get the hotel, you got the staff quarters, and there's a pub on the island as well. And it's a 1920s, 1930s stylized hotel. Yeah. I reckon someone with brain cells bigger than mine, which isn't hard, could come up with an amazing LARP. I know that iLARP done their 1920s, 1930s movie set LARP. You know,
could you imagine doing a King Kong LARP on an island would be just amazing. How cool.
My mind also went to King Kong.
Oh my god.
Your mind went to King Kong. My mind went to Agatha Christie actually based books on there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of her like Poirot books are actually based, and she wrote on that island. It's a beautiful, beautiful island, and it was like, I would love to see what someone could do with that. And that would be my sort of I wouldn't want to create a LARP. I would like to buy the island, turn around to, hello, you come say goodbye. Buy the island, turn around to someone who runs LARPs and says, make LARP happen.
Yeah, make LARP.
and then just, you know, go and watch or go and play, because I love the creativity of people as well. It's just, people are awesome, apart from the ones that aren't.
For the ones that aren't. Well,
yeah.
As long as you find the ones that are, that's the main thing. Don't concentrate on the ones that aren't.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone's so negative when positivity is good.
Yeah, it is.
Positivity and cats, isn't that right, Herm?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we better wrap this up because it is not because I want to, but because it's gone on a while.
I just feel sorry for your editor.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, I don't edit. Are you kidding me? You think I edit my own videos? I mean, I have an editor for that. Actually, I have an editor. I have a sound guy, a lighting guy. They can deal with all that, you know.
It's the Care Bear.
Yeah,
it's the Care Bear.
This Grumpy Bear does it all.
Yeah, this is me. This is actually editing Ollie here. That's the spirit animal. Anyway, yeah. Do you want to plug anything while you've got a platform, Dolly? Do you want to?
Obviously, I have to plug the Reaper's Rest, the Reaper's Ball, or any of the other names, the Reaper's Dance. You know, long story short, it's a lovely social event. It's an actual social event where you go, talk, eat food, have drinks, and other such shenanigans. Bless you. Sorry, cat sneezed on my hand. Yeah, other such shenanigans will be happening. I know last year we had a dueling competition going on, so if you wanted to get involved with dueling, you could, and there was a ribbon system. And yeah, we had an auction last year, but it's more of a social time, a time for you to unwind. I think we've worded it as a time for us to recover from our time in Spiral or Spirelli.
Yeah. Also, we're going as well, so.
Yeah, you guys are coming. I will say, perfect event for new players to come and ask questions as well. You know, if you've got your kit or the basic idea of kit and stuff like that, and you want to be able to come and talk to people and just say, "Oh, I haven't been to Anvil yet," brilliant time. You get to meet a smaller number of people. You get those connections before you go to Empire, which, you know, some of us went to Empire with no connections other than real world friendships, and you guys went with
no connections.
Each other.
Each other. We had each other and the ability to make friends.
and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's a nice opportunity, especially if you're of a more nervous disposition, to just come along and meet a few people and have conversations, because you can find a quiet nook and have an out of character conversation if needed. And yeah, we still got tickets available. And
cool. Yeah, I'll put all the information in the description and
amazing
where they can find it. Excellent.
But yeah,
well,
that's all I need to plug.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything
Dolly.
you guys need to plug?
No.
Right? Not to like and subscribe.
As I fade into all my call to actions in and out. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate you, Dolly.
Thank you for putting up with me.
Yeah, put up with you. Well, like I said, we're not ending because I want to end, because I'm having a lot of fun. But yeah, we'll have to do a part 2, because we'll.
We'll actually have to talk about what we were supposed to talk about, which is mental health at LARP.
Well, yeah. In fact, actually, we might do another episode that's focused on that. Actually,
do like a specialized focused episode. Yeah, I think that is a really important topic.
It is an important topic.
Yeah,
we all want to talk about.
Yeah, too
exactly.
Right. Anyway, right. Let's end this. Right, say goodbye to the podcast, everyone. See you later.
Podcast,
Bye,
everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this show, leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, so you know when a new episode is posted. Make sure you go check out some of our other content that we have done. Until the next time, though, we love you very much and stay safe.